Since I've gone on the Awaken 180 plan, by the way, I've lost about 50 points on my cholesterol. So I went in for my blood panel within about 60 days of starting the program, and it dropped about 50 points through my doctor. So he went on the plan. My own doctor, as a cardiologist, went on the plan because he was so impressed. He knew what my stomach looked like. He knew my build. I came in, and he just was astounded by the blood panel results. If I hadn't found Awaken 180, I probably would be on cholesterol medicine, higher blood pressure medicine. It was just a life of medication in front of me, and I didn't want that.
Mike, his doctor, and I all took control of our health thanks to Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Become your own success story and call 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 online at awaken180weightloss.com.
W's and L's are what it's all about in football season, and you know you want to be a winner. Well, don't forget about calling Florida Home AC at 777-4300 before all your friends come over and that AC or heating unit conks out. You'll have that L on your forehead, and that sticks. Make sure your AC can handle the heat and invite the gang over for a win. Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, with prompt and quick service to make sure you stay cool in the heat and warm in the winter.
If you need cash for that Jags away game road trip, Chuck at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn needs gold flatware jewelry, guitars, and always guns. Let Chuck square you away. He's got cash in hand. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Good people drink good beer, and great people drink Mocama, a refined craft brewery out of Fernandina Beach, Florida. Mocama Beer Company brings sophisticated flagship beers, including Cosmico IPA and Dune Garden Lager, to the greater Jacksonville area. Whether you're hitting the water with friends or enjoying a backyard barbecue, Mocama has the perfect beer for your summer activities. Look for us wherever great beers are sold and find your Mocama.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. I'm Andrew Gibson for 1010XL. This update brought to you by Lepo Rents and Bobcat of Jacksonville. The SEC has suspended 3 Florida football players and 1 Tennessee player for their roles in the fourth quarter altercation in Saturday night's game between Florida and Tennessee. Billy Napier addressed the late game scuffle between the Vols and the Gators.
Ultimately, that's a teachable moment. It's an opportunity for us to talk about composure and poise, ego, temper. And look, you make a decision like that. We had multiple players that screwed up. They compromised the entire team.
Florida offensive lineman Damian George and Micah Mazuka and tight end Dante Zanders will be suspended for the first half of Saturday's game against Charlotte. It's 87 degrees at 3 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a long way back to my home. Turn the radio on. I'm hearing my friend Lizzie pretend that their voice counts, but nothing amounts to anything until I hear it from you.
Frank, Hayes, Lauren, and Gibby. The Frangie Show starts now on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hey, welcome in. Glad you're along for the ride on this Tuesday installment of the program. Our Tuesday is brought to you by the Nimnick family of dealerships. Nimnick Chevrolet is on Cassett Avenue. Nimnick Buick GMC is located on Phillips Highway. Frank Frangie, Hayes, Carline, Lauren Brooks with you on a Tuesday installment of the program. As we, can you call? I want to almost call it kind of FSU Clemson week, because I think that game's
absolutely,
because that's that big, man. I mean that is a big FSU Clemson week is what this is. So
Clemson being unranked is not helping its case, though. I will say that.
Yeah, but I think it helps that it's Clemson, and it's sort of a get off the mat game for Clemson. If Clemson wins, there's going to be a lot of apologies. I don't think they're going to, but anytime I think the torch gets passed in a major conference, I think it's a massive story. And there's a lot of, like we talked about, a lot of pressure on FSU. I mean, if they lose the game, then I don't think the LSU win is going to matter a whole lot. I think they're going to be pretty devastated. So, I mean, I think the stakes are gigantic. So, yeah, I mean, it's not 2 top 10 teams, but right. I think because of how great Clemson's been, I think you can kind of give them a pass for not being ranked.
Yeah, I think what makes it gigantic, too, is we talked about this yesterday, is it a changing of the guard? That's the thing. I can't wait to watch that game. I mean, I love that it's at noon. I can't. I might have a cold pop for that game, Brooke. I'm going to have a cold pop. Is
that a Diet Coke?
No, it's not. That'd be called a Diet Coke. Okay, so we may have a cold pop.
Some people call Diet Cokes pop, so that's why I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I'm going to have a cold pop, Carline, for that one. I think
you got to.
That
few for that.
That is a fun game, man. And the other thing too is when you're a Florida person, you're not really too invested, so nothing can happen to bum you out. That's like Notre Dame, Ohio State.
Oh, I'm invested.
Well, okay, good point. You're a little bit well said. But
I'm also invested in Notre Dame, Ohio State.
Really?
Yeah, I hate Ohio State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't mean I won't pick them.
You know what?
I'm not tipping my hand.
There's more equity than I realized in those games. So.
That one I'm not I'll watch it because it's two great teams.
Yeah.
But that one I don't really care who wins.
So, but I what a good weekend for college football.
It's
a great,
gigantic. It's probably one of the best ones we'll have this regular season.
Yeah, 7 games between ranked opponents, and then FSU Clemson, it doesn't even count.
7 games with both teams ranked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how about that?
And some of those 7 are, one's like I think Oregon State, Washington State,
Yeah, not perfect.
If that game was being played in my backyard, I'd close the curtains. But it's still an unbelievable weekend. Like at Penn State, Iowa, that doesn't do any. I might be curious to watch Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State struggled a little bit with Illinois. It was closer than I thought it was.
That's how Big Ten
not
games are, though.
I know, and that's exactly why Hayes isn't excited about Iowa Penn State, and I wasn't either.
A Big Ten game, it's the leading passer is 7 for 9 for 82 yards. So that's how 100 years ago that's how the Big Ten was. So all right. Did you watch last night's game?
I did.
Were you both? Both. It was hard to watch both, but
I tell you, YouTube multi-box came through huge last night.
There's a multi-box?
Yeah. So you're talking about
you can put them both at the same time.
Both at the same time.
Maybe give a brother a heads up on that.
I just did give you a heads up.
Well,
no,
the game was last night.
Well, we talked YouTube TV like 2 weeks ago.
But you could have told me then.
I don't know that
he
I
told
knew
you about
it
the
then.
quad box.
Yeah,
What'd you say,
for
you didn't know
college
that?
football, which.
Okay.
For that, the only thing, it's
so
great.
I could have watched them at the
but
same
the only
time,
bad thing about the quad box is you can't pick the 4 games.
Right.
So you'll start on your primary game, and then if you want a multi-box, it'll give you other games and maybe
I did
one.
not know I could have done that last night.
But
I'll be done.
Now, if you had the ticket and YouTube TV, could you do a multi-box for NFL games?
I don't know.
Maybe 8 games?
Yeah. I'm not sure how that would work.
I can tell you.
You might. I'm not home.
Yeah.
Sundays
what
at
I did last night, honestly, because I'm trying to learn what I want to do. Because you had both for a while till you decided, right? You got the one but didn't cut off the other one for a month or whatever you said it was, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So that's where I'm in that transition.
Yeah.
So I literally watched. I went back and forth last night, seeing which thing I'd like better. Now, the DirecTV I know better, so I know I know how to do it. But it's no different. It's really not. You can go, but you can back up, and I got to be able to back up. If I can't back up, I'm not watching. I'm a backup guy,
Right.
So you got to be able.
I
to
think
back
we
up.
all are backup.
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. So I got to be able to back up, but
and gals.
Yeah, yeah. I'm only a backup guy.
Right.
Are we talking about rewinding?
Back up.
Yeah. Okay. Rewinding.
No, back up. Okay. You call it whatever you want to call it. I'm backing up, okay? You call.
We're talking TV, yes.
Yeah, right. It's backing up, okay? Rewinding went out when Blockbuster shut down, okay?
Right.
Be kind of when Rewind was over, so I can back up. So I
nothing worse than that 50 cents charge.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, I used to argue with them
forgot
about
to rewind Navy SEALs.
Can you believe they charge you because you didn't rewind it?
Yeah.
You know what happened? You go out of business. That's
right.
That's real. Forget all this other digital stuff. That's what took them out of business. So anyway. But I'm going back and forth last night trying to figure out the best way, and so
So it's easy to change between the 2 games on YouTube TV.
Yeah, it's not quite as fast.
Yeah, if you didn't want a multi-box last night, then you just basically hit the down. I mean, it depends. Again, this depends on what remote you're using.
Right.
Like I use my original TV remote now.
Gotcha.
But other TVs in our house, we had to buy either one of them's like a Roku, one of them's like another remote that we had to. Anyway, so. You have to figure out what remote it's better if you can use your original one.
Right.
So like for me, it's literally hit a down button. The what you've been watching pops up. I go back to the other game.
That's right.
Same here. Couldn't be easier. With the multi-box, it's cool because you can just hit a button left or right, and it'll pick up the audio of whatever game is on. So you can choose your audio, which is nice.
Yeah.
And anyway, so but yeah, I liked the 2 Monday night games. I've said I don't like the fact that there's so many games at 1 o'clock that I usually just can't see because the Jaguars are on. So the more games that are in other windows, the better it is for me as an NFL fan.
Yeah. So, but I hear you. Well, so we're watching, but so I've got to where now I can manage them very similarly. So I got the rest of the month to figure out what I want to do. But watching the games last night, and I want to get to the horrible Nick Chubb injury in a bit because it was. And did you see the other side? Did you see the side they never showed?
I saw it, but I only saw the one angle. And
you have not seen the angle they didn't show.
Correct.
Have you seen it?
Yeah,
I've seen it too. And you don't need to see it.
Nope.
Yeah. So, but I think most people that wanted to see it have now seen it.
Yeah, I mean it's
it's out there. It's
his leg gets caved in. I mean,
yeah. You knew what it was going to be like, but before I watched it, I knew what it was going to be, and it was I still got squeamish, and I knew I've seen enough of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's either
and maybe I have seen what you're talking about because I saw it up close and personal.
Well, it's from
it's the other side.
Yeah, it's the inverted
it's
angle.
The other side.
So TV
never showed.
I never saw it on TV.
I saw it on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter showed it, and it was bad. So we'll get to that coming up. But here's what's happened in the NFL. We're back in 1956. Nobody's any good on offense. Isn't it weird? I mean, isn't it weird? And I'm not saying no teams are, but I mean, the masses aren't scoring.
Last night was certainly, but again, I think that's the identity of those 4 teams.
Four.
The Saints have a better defense than offense, particularly with Kamara suspended.
Yeah.
The Panthers certainly have a better defense than offense. The Browns have a better defense than offense because Deshaun Watson is still struggling and they're missing their right tackle. And then the Steelers, I think, certainly have a better defense. I mean, that's sort of been their history.
The Steelers, the defense outscored the offense.
Right. So I do think it happened to be 2 games where the 4 teams collectively are more defensive oriented than offensive. But yeah, I mean, I do think you're seeing a trend where offensive lines, not just in Jacksonville but across the league, are struggling to find continuity and cohesion because these clubs aren't doing a whole lot of contact in the preseason, which I understand. But so then it takes a while to get settled in. It's been, I think, in Jacksonville's area, it's been more inexcusable because of how poor it's been. But I do think the offensive line across the league is struggling right now, and 2 weeks in.
And Prisco's point, and I hadn't thought about that, is Prisco's point, maybe that's what you're talking about too, is lack of playing in preseason games together is affecting offensive line play, and I think there's some truth to that. I think there is some.
But I don't think you're ever going to change it. I mean, I don't think you're going to see a coach next year play his starting offensive line 75% of the snaps in preseason so they can be ready week 1. I think this is just the cost of doing business. Again, you don't want it to be as extreme as it's been with the Jaguars, but I think it's the cost of doing business to get to week 1 healthy is it's going to take you a few weeks, a few games to get that line situated.
There's some truth to that. But I think what's happened to me anyway, for me, Hayes, more than anything else, is we keep changing the preseason so people aren't quite sure how to manage it. We're still changing. We went from 4 to 3, and now the joint practices. We're still in a transition period of how we manage our preseason. I think we're ultimately going to 18-2, and then I think that'll never change again, and I think we're going to have 2 preseason games, and then I think people will know how to manage that, and I think we need to get the 17-3 is goofy.
It is.
1 year you have 9 home games, 1 year you have 8. That's not how you do it.
And
they need
again,
to get to that.
And it's not like it's a plague. There were 10 teams this week that scored 30 or more.
Right.
So that's a lot. That's almost a third of the teams that competed. So, obviously 30 points a game in the NFL, scoring 30 points is a lot of points. So, but yes, I certainly there's teams, and the Jaguars are probably at the forefront of them, where the offensive line play has just simply been dreadful.
Yeah, even the Chiefs can't get going. So there's typically good teams that haven't gotten going. So we'll talk a little bit about the NFL today. Talk about FSU Clemson a little bit today. I want to get to that. But did you see the ratings Colorado did?
It's unbelievable.
It really is because of how late the game was.
The 5th most watched regular season game ever on ESPN. ESPN started showing games in 1979. Well, I guess 84. I guess 84 they started showing regular season games. I guess it was tape delayed. But they started the first ever ESPN regular season live game was Florida-Miami in 1984. And it's the 5th most watched ever I mean, and I don't know if streaming affects that, hurts that, helps that. It was amazing. 9.3 million viewers.
I think it speaks to controversy. You know,
it does.
Controversy carries the day in the entertainment world, and sports is part of the entertainment world. And Deion Sanders is the most controversial figure right now, probably in sports. Now, that's not because of anything bad he's done. He's just controversial. Just means everybody has an opinion on Deion Sanders. There's no one that doesn't care.
Yeah, he's very polarizing.
Apathy and Deion Sanders are not in the same ballpark.
Yeah, he's very polarizing.
Yeah, so you're either a huge fan of what he's doing at Colorado, or you loathe it and you want him to fail. And so I'm curious to see. The numbers are going to be unbelievable the next 2 weeks. I mean, Colorado, Oregon, Colorado, USC, that's going to be gigantic. If they lose both those games big, as the Vegas boys and girls expect that they will, then I'll be curious to see how much it sustains itself. But not only is he controversial, but you had a very controversial lead up to the game. I mean, it almost felt like an old Florida State-Miami game in the 80s, 90s, where there was a bunch of trash talk throughout the week and bulletin board material, and obviously Colorado State provided plenty of that, and then Colorado answered it.
It'll be interesting to see for sure. We'll take a break. When we come back, let's kick it off with Jaguars-Texans. What do you think of the Texans? How good are they? How good will they be? They're 0-2. Are they better than that? Is that who they are? They've been a beat-up football team as well. I had some caught up with my friend Mark Vandermeer. We talked a little off-air today a little bit about that. So we'll talk some Jags-Texans and how important that game is. That comes up on the program today. A little bit about FSU-Clemson. You know, that thing's had some sneaky good moments, hasn't it? If you look back to FSU-Clemson, some of the most memorable moments in college football in the last 30 years were from that series. So we'll certainly talk about that. I'm very excited about what that game is so important, because is it a changing of the guard moment in that league? So we'll talk about that. Some other college football to talk about as well. A lot of things to get to. Glad you're with us. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
The best day of the work week gets even better at 3 o'clock.
Yes! With Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Rehabilitation Football Friday night.
High school, college, Jaguars, and NFL.
All right!
On 1010XL.
Are you still feeling the heat this summer? Looking to keep your cool? Look no further than Lloyd's Heating and Air. At Lloyd's Heating and Air, we're your go-to experts for all things HVAC. Whether you're building a new home, need a brand new AC installation, or just want to make sure your current system is running at peak performance, we've got you covered. Our skilled team specializes in new construction HVAC, making sure your home or business is comfortable from the moment you step inside. LloydsHeatingandAir.com. CMC 1249834.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can now do it in less than a week. Hey, it's Prosser here, and that's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, or even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. And you don't even have to touch your primary mortgage, so you can keep that 3% rate intact. Just get the money you need and pay off all those credit cards, or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 16617881, subject to lender approval.
Did you know the 2023 Honda CR-V Hybrid never needs to be plugged in? The onboard system charges the batteries for you. When you think Honda, think hybrid. Good for the environment, great for your budget. Visit your local Honda dealer to experience the CR-V of the future today.
Hey there, my taco-loving sports fans. Don here from Taco Lou in Jax Beach. It's Tuesday, and to many of you, that means one thing: tacos. At Taco Lou, we feel like every day is Taco Tuesday, except Monday, which is what makes Tuesday special for us, too. We're back, you've been patient, and now it's time to dig in, crush the tacos, and wash it all down with a cold Dos Equis. Or sip a fantastic margarita while you grind. Come in and see what's new at Taco Lou. Taco Lou in Jax Beach.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
You've probably heard the saying, it's not how hard you get hit, it's whether or not you get back up. Well, I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and I have a saying of my own. If you get hit with a personal injury or wrongful death, hit back and fight to make them pay. At Hastings Injury Law, we have the experience you want if you or a loved one suffer a car or trucking accident or wrongful death. Just call 904-HIT-BACK and we'll help you get up and hit back. Office is Jacksonville.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. There's a reason so many of my friends and our listeners have had Stanley Pools build their pools and now maintain their pools because Stanley Pools truly cares about their customers. Stanley Pools is locally owned and has been serving our community for 35 years. For all of your pool needs, call Stanley Pools at 269-7277. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools. 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com.
It's storm season, and JEA is committed to keeping you informed. In the event of a storm, we'll text and email you about the status of your services. We use Facebook and Twitter to post real-time updates. Our live outage map on JEA.com lets you track restoration progress. And as crews work to restore services, our storm outreach team will be in local neighborhoods to answer your questions. Because as your community-owned utility, JEA is here to keep you safe and connected. Your community, your utility.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hayes Carline from MyBookie. If you're a veteran or rookie, you can bet with MyBookie. We're in full swing now for football, so check the updated lines at mybookie.ag and get your bets in to win real cash. Make sure you take advantage of their brand new cash-out system, giving you more options to bet and win all season long. If the first two legs of your parlay hit, cash out early and use the funds on another bet, or let it ride for the chance at a bigger payday. Join the MyBookie family for an entire season filled with odds boosts, free bets, and super contests. This is the best time of the year to get your bets in and start the football season off with some winners. To get started, go to mybookie.ag now and register for a free account. When you're ready to make your first deposit, just use promo code 1010XL to grab a welcome bonus on the house. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
Whether it's a large commercial project or a multifamily property, trust All Pro Roofing for exceptional craftsmanship and unparalleled customer service. We use only the finest materials, ensuring durability and long-lasting results. Plus, All Pro Roofing now has a full siding and windows division. That's right, All Pro Roofing is not just about roofs anymore. All Pro Roofing, now your trusted partner for commercial roofing, multifamily projects, exterior siding, and windows. AllProRoofingLLC.com.
License number CCC 1327056.
CDC 060138.
Ackerman Urology is now servicing the Beaches community. If you have elevated PSA, prostate, bladder, or kidney issues, plan to see the experts at Ackerman Urology right away at the new location on Atlantic and Hodges Boulevard.
Hey there, hot stuff. Is your home feeling more like a sauna than a sanctuary? It's time to quack down on that heat with Duck Duck Air Conditioning. Ready to chill out? Call us at 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckac.com. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
We want to thank our friends from the Nimnick family dealership, Billy Nimnick, Lee Nimnick, all those great Nimnick folks. Nimnick Chevrolet is on Cassett. Nimnick Buick GMC is located on Phillips Highway. Frangie Carline, Lauren Brooks, RJ Saunders with you. The Texans come calling. Here's what I'll tell you. They're beat up. They've struggled. They're going to have a tough year. But I think you saw some things from C.J. Stroud. I think already, I can tell you, they're pretty excited about what they think he is going to be. Wasn't perfect. Threw for 384 yards last week, though. And so it'll be a while. They shouldn't come in here and win or even have a chance to win on Sunday. But I do think they've, and I said this all along about him, so I'm not changing anything I thought. I think they found something with C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was whether it was in garbage time or whatever, 384 yards in an NFL game when it's your second start is quite impressive. And C.J. Stroud right now is 16th in passer rating. Again, it's early, but he's ahead of Patrick Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence. So pretty impressive in terms of that accomplishment for 2 games. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're formidable. I mean, I think that they're a year or 2 away, but if they can get Tunsil back this week, then yeah, I think it's going to be a difficult game. I will say this: I would take Houston in 9 right now. I don't think Houston's going to win the game, but
it's a big
9
line.
points
That's a big
is a lot
NFL
of
line.
points.
That's a big line in the NFL.
And particularly when the team favored by 9 can't block anybody right now. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a dangerous game because if you lose it, you're 3 games in, and it kind of feels like the wheels are coming off a little bit.
Yeah, it's that game. It's the game I talk about these all the time. There's games you want to win, and there's games you need to not lose. This is a game you need to not lose. And I think last week's result, again, I'll say what I said yesterday. You're 1-1. Your one loss is to the team that's hoisting the Lombardi, and you lost by a touchdown. I'm not ready to panic yet, but I know how fans are, and I know if you start with all those with 6 months of expectations, 8 months of expectations, and you start 1-2 and lose a home game to a team that is perceived as not particularly good, then in the minds of the public, the wheels have come off.
Isn't it funny how if the Jaguars had played better week 1 and played better but, again, lost week 2 offensively, this would be an entirely different conversation.
If what now?
If the Jaguars had played better offensively in both games, still lost the second game, but played better offensively in both games, then the conversation would be completely different. If, like we said yesterday, if the Jaguars had lost to the Chiefs 31-27 and still had played better offensively against the Colts, the conversation would more be how many points are the Jaguars going to beat the Texans by. Instead, the question is the offensive line going to be able to protect Trevor, and can the offense get anything going whatsoever? And then, of course, pass rush, if Josh Allen is banged up, what is that going to look like against a team that clearly wants to throw the football?
Yeah, Again, maybe I'm way off the mark. Listen, when's the last time the Jags have beaten the Texans in Jacksonville?
I think they've won 5 in a row here.
It's at least that, isn't it? It's at least 5. It's been a while. It's been a while since the Jags have beaten. Maybe it was 17, I guess. It's been a while since the Jags have beaten the Texans in a home game. So there's something to that. Something happens with that stuff. And so it's the NFL. You're right, Hayes. I don't think it's 45-10. But I would be surprised if the Jags don't win this game. I said that about the first game, and I'll say it about this game. I did not expect them to beat the Chiefs. I was relatively confident they were going to beat the Colts, and I'm relatively confident they're going to win this game. So it gets after this game it gets interesting because anything can happen in London. The Falcons might be a little better than people thought. Then you play the Bills, who are good. Then by the time the Colts come back, they've played for a while. You go to New Orleans, who's pretty good. You go to Pittsburgh, who tends to play well there and is very good on defense. But I would be very surprised. You wouldn't be surprised. Would you be surprised if the Texans won? I'd be
surprised if the Texans win. Yeah,
if they win, yeah.
I still think the Jaguars are good. I think they're just going through some things. I just think that it's more of a slump than it is that something is fundamentally flawed with them. So while it's disappointing how they've played offensively and being 6 of 24 on third down, 1 of 5 on fourth down, as dreadful as that is, I do expect that it's going to pick up. I think by the time we get to the 17th game, they're going to be more in line with where they were last year in terms of situational football. So I think it's more slump than something fundamentally broken, but they need to show that. They need to play well. Play well doesn't mean win by 21. Play well means win this game, 27-17, and people are probably thinking, okay, yeah, they're starting to figure it out, and particularly if there's time. If there's time for Trevor, if the offensive line plays well, then I think people start to get kind of calmed down a little bit.
Yes, it was 2017, the last time the Jaguars beat the Texans in Jacksonville. How is that possible? I mean, yes, the Jaguars have not been great, but once Deshaun Watson hasn't been there, it's not like the Texans have been great either.
But last year was shocking.
Yeah, but it underscores the fact. It underscores the fact that the Jags have not been a particularly good team since 17. Even the first part. I mean, they started 3-7 last year. You know, they've been a good team since the break last year, but there's been a lot of games between 17 and the break last year. So I'm not.
Deshaun Watson took a bus basically to get here one game and still played well.
Right.
Because he couldn't breathe out of a lung.
And he beat him in London, right? Didn't they lose? They lost to him in London. So, so we'll see. And again, by the way, I can tell you what they're lamenting in Houston. They're lamenting the fact that they were shocked that they couldn't block. Now, they haven't had Tunsil. They were shocked that they couldn't block the Colts at all. Their thinking was the Colts' defensive front played better than they've ever seen it play. And I said, well, we saw that too. Won the game, but saw the same thing that Buckner and Grover Stewart and Kwity Paye and those downhill linebackers, Shaq Leonard and Zaire Franklin, that front seven from the Colts was really good. And then the next week you play Nick Bolton and Willie Gay, who are as good a sideline-to-sideline linebacker pair as there is in the league probably. And Chris Jones, who might be the best defensive lineman in the league. So, at least from my standpoint, it would be good not to play any of them. I mean, that was two good fronts. Will Anderson's going to be good. I don't know if he's good yet.
That's the thing. I mean, it would be really disappointing if Will Anderson ends up wrecking them on Sunday, and maybe down the road he develops into that kind of player. But and this should be. I mean, if you're Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker and company, I mean, you've got to be salivating at this matchup because Stroud's already been sacked 11 times, which is just stunning for only having 2 games played. Now, he also has yet to throw a pick, which he deserves a lot of credit for, considering he's attempted 91 passes. But what that tells you is he's not taking chances with the football, so he's holding it.
That's right.
So if you're a pass rusher,
that's right,
you're going to get the extra half second you need. And he's not a really particularly big guy. So I would think for Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen, this is a game where you're thinking, I'm going to pad my number.
And you're getting, when you have the ball, you're getting Will Anderson and an old friend John Grenard, who's a nice outside. He's a nice defensive end, but John Grenard isn't a great player in the NFL. He's a great motor guy who played well at Florida. But Will Anderson and Grenard are your outside your ends. Malik Collins and Sheldon Rankins. Sheldon Rankins is a good player. He's been around a while, but this isn't what you've been playing. So I get the 9-point line. I do.
Yeah, it makes sense. I have a crazy question. Is this the most difficult challenge for the secondary that they've had so far this season? The Colts receivers aren't very good, and the Chiefs receivers aren't very good.
Yeah,
but still no.
I mean, it's a good question. They all are, but I mean,
the Chiefs could be playing to throw into the 3 of us.
Yeah, if you've got Mahomes.
Yeah. So,
Mahomes and 3 mannequins are better than anything the Texans have with CJ Stroud.
Correct. But the Jags are going to face better combinations of receivers. To your point, but
I mean, Nico Collins had over 150 yards against the Colts last weekend, and certainly no Chiefs player, no Colts players had nearly that.
Yeah, so we'll see. So Jags and Texans, we'll talk more about it coming up. I think the game came at the right. I'm glad it's here. I'm glad before you go to London for 2 games, and that's going to be an interesting thing, man. I mean, spending a whole. Does it benefit the Jags when they play the Bills? That they've been there and they're accustomed to being there? Does that help them, or does it work against them because they're tired and ready to come home? Nobody knows that dynamic from a competitive advantage or disadvantage. Nobody really knows how that will play.
I think it's going to hurt them, but I'm interested in seeing how they handle it.
Yeah.
And as far as the first team the Jaguars match up against, they take on the Lions on Sunday. How do you feel about that game? Falcons-Lions.
Oh, I haven't even thought about it. I think the Lions have a better team. I don't think the Falcons are as good as you are what your record says you are. I don't think at the end of the year with Desmond Ridder we're going to look up and the Falcons have won double-digit games. Do you?
No, they're really protecting him. And Bijan looks incredible.
Yeah, he does.
So,
and he's a really good – you knew he'd be a really good
so
player.
that'll be a challenge. But I would think the Lions will win. It is interesting the NFC South's off to such a great start outside of Carolina. The other 3 teams are 2-0, but I don't think it holds. I think by the time we get to the end of it, the champ is probably somewhere around 8 wins.
That'd be my guess. The possible outlier is the Saints. I think they're a little better than the rest of the group, but we'll see.
I was just wondering if you think the Falcons will be undefeated by the time the
I
Jaguars
hear
get
you.
them.
I hear you. They could be. I mean, I think they're going to lose to the Lions, but wouldn't that be something? The 2-1 Jags versus the 3-1 Falcons. By the way, I saw.
Better be that.
What was the promo last night that Buck kept reading?
Yeah, the Toy Story one.
The toy. What? Help me. Explain
I guess
that to me. I'm a simple guy.
I guess if you're watching
guy,
Nickelodeon, it's going to be basically the Jaguars-Falcons game. But they've created an animation for it so that instead of seeing like the human beings playing it, they're going to be like toys, like animated as toys. So it's going to be the same game. Like if Trevor throws a 50-yard touchdown to Calvin Ridley, you're still getting that, but you're getting it as cartoon characters. Like I thought they should have done it with Carolina because Bryce Young already is a figurine, so it would have made more sense. But for whatever reason, they're doing it for Jaguars and Falcons.
I have friends who have kids that are at the age where they're excited about this.
They are excited.
They are. The kids are excited. Okay. I will not watch it.
I mean, I'm going to be locked in.
Yeah.
You give,
well, I'm not watching
characters
it. Okay.
playing an NFL game.
Yeah, okay. So there's that.
How do you not at least take a peek?
Yeah.
And then you can back it up.
I mean, you can back up. As long as
I'm going to write my.
I'll back up the hell out of
my
that.
post-game story. I'm going to write in crayon.
Very good.
It'll take you a while.
We'll talk FSU Clemson after this. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Defense kept us in this football game, created the takeaways.
The ball on the ground, and the Jags have picked it up.
They're flying around. I mean, it was fun to watch those guys.
Picked off by Andre Sisto. A diving interception.
Yeah, defense played well.
Foye Aluakon jumped on top of it.
One game's not going to define who we are, and it's not going to define our season.
We're a better team. We're a better offense than that.
That's the exciting part about it. Guys are going to rally. Guys are going to bounce back. We're going to be better next week.
Next up, the Houston Texans, Sunday at 1 on the home of the Jaguars, 1010XL.
If you've got bad shoulders, knees, elbows, got sprain, strain, or pain in your muscles, PRPrelief.com, PRPrelief.com, best priced PRPrelief.com.
Hi, I'm Frank Frangie. Looking for a remix of our original sandwich? Well, the new Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich is a flavorful spin on a familiar favorite. Created with Chick-fil-A filet, a drizzle of honey, pickled jalapenos, and a spread of savory pimento cheese. The new Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich combines your favorite flavors with a new twist. Available for a limited time only. So stop by and enjoy one today.
I had a question about my insurance the other day, so I called my new State Farm agent. And would you believe I talked to the same person who remembered my name? They said that was called service. And then they asked if my dog Max was over his cold. They called that service too. And then they helped me find ways to save on my home and auto coverage. I asked State Farm what they called that. They said service.
Call State Farm agent Jason Judy, 416-1732.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mitchell Yass, and I am no longer the most unknown world-renowned pain elimination specialist thanks to you and my 1010XL radio show, The Pain-Free Living Hour. You can re-listen to all 14 episodes on my YouTube channel, Dr. Mitchell Yass, and have your pain eliminated with treatment in my office or online over Zoom. Book your appointment today, 904-906-YASS or at livewithoutpains.com.
They're the guys you want to talk hunting and fishing with.
Perfect case.
Captain Kevin, Captain Kirk, and Jeff Lageman.
Let's go to the woods, y'all.
On the Nimnicht Outdoor Show, presented by Duck Duck Rooter. 7 to 10 every Saturday morning on 1010XL.
Hey, folks, football is back. So is truck season. That makes sense. Football and trucks, you better believe it. Well, with a powerful Chevy Silverado, you can take on anything. Nimnicht Chevrolet is proud to be Northeast Florida's Silverado truck headquarters. They've got the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and that best price guarantee. And with nearly 200 Silverados in stock, your perfect truck is waiting for you right now at Nimnicht Chevrolet. And this month, by the way, well-qualified buyers can get rates as low as 0% APR financing. That's right, 0% APR. plus a $750 cash allowance and no payments for 90 days. Football's here. That means truck season is here, and the best place to get a truck is at Nimnick Chevrolet. Go get that Silverado right now. That's Nimnick. Your friends in the car business since 1941. Chevy. Find new roads.
E.T. here for the Aesthetic Center. Do you get up a lot at night to go to the bathroom and lose a lot of much-needed sleep? And you can never fully go back to sleep, can you? Am I right? Take a time out on the Emsella chair. Get those pelvic floor muscles strong again. Just a few short sessions will get you back in the game stronger than ever. And guess what, guys? It can also help you out with that ED, if you know what I'm saying. Call 808-2455 to get started. That's 808-2455. Or book an appointment online at jacksaestheticcenter.com.
Hey, this is Jason with Bueller Air Conditioning. Why do we love to go to that awesome grocery store where shopping is a pleasure? Why do we choose that amazing chicken sandwich where the service is fast and friendly and it's always their pleasure? You see, those brands are a promise. Here at Bueller Air, our team is committed to serving the customer and delivering that same kind of brand promise. Our mission is to be the most trusted brand with friendly and professional service every single time. Give us a call today or visit BuellerAir.com.
Mike Dempsey here for Underdog Fantasy's Pick'em Fantasy game, a super fun way to play along as you watch your favorite players. The way it works, you pick higher or lower on 2 to 5 player stats, then watch to see if your picks hit. It's that easy. If you haven't tried out Pick'em, now's the perfect time. Football season's back, and to celebrate, Underdog announced their newest special that will be running all season long. It's called 100K Sundays. Every Sunday, Underdog's going to be giving $10,000 in cold hard cash to 10 winners who play Pick'em. You can take your chance by playing along every Sunday. 1 entry equals 1 ticket. Will you be one of the winners? Find out by making your picks this football season. In total, they're going to be giving away $2 million. That's a real number. $2 million just to people who are making picks. Try it out today by downloading the Underdog Fantasy app. You must be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ncpgambling.org.
Are you an experienced automotive technician and tired of working for employers who put profit over people? Then come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road and get trained on how to diagnose and rebuild today's complex transmissions. See how we're different. Get traction on your career and come to Action.
Equal opportunity employer.
Make sure your home is protected this hurricane season by scheduling a complimentary roof inspection with Universal Roof and Contracting. And right now, get 10% off roof replacement and repairs. The first 50 callers will save an additional $500 on a full roof replacement. And this offer expires September 30th and restrictions apply. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 1330747, CVC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Experience the Kanaya Water System's difference, bringing purity and affordability right to your town. Say goodbye to hard water woes and hello to clean, soft water for your family. Search KENAI Water, Jacksonville.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Walker Little has played well at left tackle in place of Cam Robinson, who is serving a 4-game suspension. According to Pro Football Focus, Little has allowed 1 total pressure on 88 pass blocking snaps this season. PFF says that is tied for 3rd best among all NFL tackles. Little spoke about how the offensive line unit can improve going into Week 3.
The biggest thing is just knowing that we are a good group, keeping that confidence, and just moving on to the next game, moving on to Houston. Learn from this as much as you can, but don't dwell on it and don't lose any confidence.
Jaguars left tackle Walker Little, courtesy of Jaguars.com. The Jags host the division rival Houston Texans on Sunday. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
RJ, who is this?
Avenged Sevenfold.
Okay. It had a very creepy beginning that I wondered where the song was going to go, and now I get the metal from it. Frank Frangie, Hayes Carline, RJ Saunders, I am Lauren Brooks. About to talk Clemson playing host to FSU. Game kicks off at noon. How many FSU fans make the trip, Frank?
Oh, I think there'll be a lot. I don't know what in those games, whatever the contract calls for is how many you'll take. I know when I was covering the Gators, and even after that was when I was on the network, the Florida Tennessee and the Florida FSU games called for 10-5, both places. And everything else was 8,500. I don't know if when you covered them or when you followed
I think
it.
they've reduced it. I can tell you, our buddy Shane, the owner of Island Wing Company, is going.
Yeah, he's going up.
Yeah, he's a big knoll, so he's fired up.
So what does it hold? What does Clemson Stadium hold? 85, 80?
82.
82. Okay, so if it holds 82, yeah, I'll bet the contract
7,500.
8,000. Yeah, I'll bet the contract 7,500. It's somewhere thereabouts. So so I'll bet the contract's about 7,500. And which means which means they'll sell those out, and then another 2,000 or 3,000 will find tickets. When the contract was 10-5, you could count on about 15 in the stadium. Would you say? I think that was kind of what we always used to say. If the contract was 10-5, I can tell you when Florida played FSU and FSU played Florida, you figured there was 15 of the others, and I always felt that way. So to your question, 10-12, Lauren, I'll bet 10-12. I'll bet they. Now again, Clemson fans buy their tickets. So I wonder where Clemson fan is today. Is he mad? Is he less likely to go?
I don't think. No, I didn't mean that way. I thought you meant. I don't think Clemson fan is checked out at all.
Yeah.
I think Clemson fan is like, okay, yeah, we didn't play well against Duke in the opener, and okay, we probably should have beaten Tennessee in the Orange Bowl. They didn't have their quarterback and top two receivers, but okay, so yeah, we have stubbed our toe a little bit, but and their confidence may not be super high, but I have to think if you're a Clemson fan, you're like, look, they're coming here. All the pressure's on them.
Right.
We're gonna find a way to score one more point than they will. And so I wouldn't think a Clemson fan is checked out or apathetic. I mean, I would think this is where you're like, this is going to be the sweetest one because we're going to spoil the party.
Yeah, but and again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. I said this all day yesterday. But this is the pass the throne or keep the throne game. No matter how it plays out, no matter what the score is, at the end of the game, in the court of public opinion, either Clemson is still the king of the ACC, no matter what. Either Clemson's still the king of the ACC, or they've passed the throne on to FSU. There's no matter who gets hurt, no matter who does it, no matter how much it rains, no matter what happens in the game. That will be the narrative at about 3:20 on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, and I think the bigger picture, if you're a Florida State fan, is even if you barely beat Clemson, what do you look like based off of last week? There's a lot, I think, of public perception in that realm right now that's, are we about to get our butts kicked? Maybe we had an overblown sense of confidence, even though LSU looked really good against Mississippi State, but are we thinking that maybe – yeah, we had all these great guys in the transfer portal, but at the end of the day, we're still the same old FSU.
See, I think if Boston College had played them a tooth and nail game, back and forth the whole game, then there's something to that. Then there's something to me. Are we not as good as we thought? But because the way they rolled LSU, because of how good they looked against Southern Miss, hanging 60+, because of the fact they got out to that 31-10 lead, and then kind of got the one to sleep at the wheel. To me, all that evidence all suggests they just didn't pay attention the last quarter and a half. Almost bit them, but it didn't. Again, if it had been back and forth, and you'd have walked away from that game thinking, "Ooh, Boston College played them really tough," I didn't feel like Boston College played them tough. I felt like Florida State got up 31-10 and started looking at Clemson, and Boston College, the emotion of because that's an emotional game for them. That's what I think. That's the way I see that game.
I agree. By the way, our good buddy Robert Bethea in diehard Knoll says FSU is getting 1,300 tickets. That's it.
That's all they get.
1,300.
Is that normal?
I don't know. But yeah, that seems awfully low.
And maybe unless the paradigm's changed.
Sure.
Well, I'm talking about the 90s now.
Oh, right.
The 90s and the early 2000s.
From what I see, Clemson assigned 1,300 tickets in previous years. 1,300 tickets for FSU in the lower level sections. This year, it's only 500 in the lower level sections. But I think there's additional in the upper level.
I can't imagine it's 1,300 of 82.
Maybe,
Robert,
to
you
be
may
honest,
know.
I do remember like Florida would send out emails saying School X has returned 3,500 tickets.
Now that happens all the time.
It probably got to a point where they were like, look, instead of us doing this, why don't we just, reduce the number and go from there? And, but anyway, so I think that in terms of looking at the game, I agree. I don't think what happened in Chestnut Hill is indicative of what Florida State is. I think, it was emotional early. Boston College gets a lead. FSU gets control of the game and then does take their foot off the gas, particularly defensively. And BC gets back in it and makes it a little bit, to me, that's more of a teachable moment than it is raise your eyebrow at FSU maybe not being as good as we think. The other thing, too, is college football is weird. It's a tough sport to say, well, because this team lost 3 weeks ago to this team,
that's right.
This means this is going to happen. Teams grow so much throughout the year, and a lot of times it's just when are you catching them? Tennessee caught Florida at a bad time. They were upset. They'd been told for 2 weeks how lousy they were, and it was sort of a put up or shut up game for the Gators, and they played well. The same Florida team that Tennessee saw might not be the same Florida team that Kentucky sees in a couple weeks. And I think it's the same thing here. I'm going to pick FSU, but and a lot of it is because I've seen when I saw Clemson against Duke, they were woefully bad. So I have to ask myself, could they have made that much improvement in 3 weeks? But the Clemson team that Florida State will see is going to be much different than the Clemson team that laid an egg against Duke. So that's what you have to wrestle with. Obviously, Vegas is. I mean, the Noles are a slight favorite, even though they've been way more impressive, I think, this season and have way more higher-end talent. So I do think it's one of those games that it's hard to base a lot of what we have seen, particularly in week one, on how this game will go. But my eyes just tell me FSU's a lot better. That if FSU and Clemson both play B-level games, Florida State's going to win by, I don't know how, but they're going to win by 7. If they play really well, they might beat Clemson by 17.
So here's the chippy/pissy part of it. My friend Grayson Marshall was the point guard at Clemson and was one time the ACC career assist leader before Chris Corciani and Bob Hurley came along. Great basketball player. My friend Anthony Peretti, who you know well, was a core scholarship quarterback at Clemson. So all my Clemson friends are now blowing up my phone. I love that.
Yeah.
That means they're chippy.
Yeah.
Grayson and Anthony and all you other Clemson people. I love pissy fan doesn't want to turn over the throne. Isn't that what makes it great?
Absolutely.
I mean, my phone's so hot. My phone's so hot right now I can't hold it. It's coming out of my hand.
You
All my
have
Clemson
Dabo
fans.
Sweeney who doesn't lose to FSU for the most part, right? That's the track record.
I
and
love this.
I think it all depends
I
on.
love Clemson fans. Wait, right now we still have the throne. For those that missed it,
they do.
I love the fact that's what makes this thing great. Regardless of which team you're, guys like us, I don't really care. This makes this great.
I think it all depends on, obviously, how does Cade Klubnik play, but can Clemson get the running game going? Can Will Shipley create some damage, create some holes against FSU's defense? If FSU can run the ball, then I'm going to say, FSU, it's going to be somewhat easy.
Anthony Peretti says, we had to send them $500 for the freaking band.
But now they're not bringing the band, is what I saw. I think
Anthony,
because they reduced
Anthony,
the
I'm told
allotment.
they're not bringing the band.
Yeah,
now.
I don't think they're bringing the Marching Chiefs.
They're not bringing the band to Clemson?
I don't think so because of the ticket allotment reduction. This is what I've been reading.
Is that right?
That's stunning.
So it's getting chippy even between the universities.
Again, this is the way. Listen, and I'll make all my ACC fans mad now. Okay, with all due respect to your league up there in Norfolk or Richmond or Greensboro, wherever you have a league, if you even have a league office. To all my friends
Charlotte,
up there,
right?
Okay, sure, wherever it is. Okay, there's not much of this. This has an SEC feel to it. This feels like Alabama LSU feels. This has a angry, we don't like each other. We've got the throne, you've got the throne. We're going to pack the house. We're going to send our fans. We're going to talk trash. This has a real FSU, a real SEC, doesn't it?
And there's no close second in the
Right,
ACC
right.
in terms of rivalry. Because to me, you can't count Florida State, Miami. That rivalry was great pre-ACC and really hasn't been great while they've both been in the conference. And I don't think there's anything else, Clemson to me doesn't have a secondary rival that would remotely come close. So
no, I think back in the day it would have been FSU, Virginia Tech. Before
Yeah.
Virginia Tech
for
fell off.
a small period, yeah. But I mean, this is
this is
good
it.
Yes,
this is the ACC war.
And by the way, this rivalry wasn't always good because for the longest time FSU was great and Clemson wasn't. I can remember one year, it might have been the Chris Wenke fake and then long bomb to Snoop Minutes that you and I just watched.
Such a pretty play.
I mean, and it might have been that year.
That cameraman still has a problem in his neck.
That's exactly right. For people that don't know what I'm talking about, FSU had the ball on the 1-yard line or somewhere thereabouts. Chris Wenke executed the greatest play fake of all time. Put the ball on his stomach and just looked at the back of the end, looked into the stands. Nobody knew he had the ball. All 11 Clemson players bit, and Snoop Minutes was 12 miles behind the defense. It was a great play. That series also had Punt Ruski, which is one of the most memorable plays in college football history. Leroy Butler, now in the Hall of Fame, ran that thing for Florida State. But that thing had a think about this now. Clemson was coming until FSU just beat the hell out of them. What year was it that Clemson really thought they were going to beat them? Was
it 14 maybe?
Was it a Thursday night game? They had a bunch of Thursday night games.
Yeah, you're right. It was either that or it was like the Saturday night prime time. But it was the game everybody was talking about.
I mean,
and Florida State got off the bus and just destroyed them.
Walla. And it was, and I'm telling you, everybody thought Clemson was going to hang around, and I mean FSU beat them like a dog.
Oh yeah.
I think it was 2013. FSU ended up winning 51-14.
That was the game.
Because the next year FSU didn't have Jameis.
Was 51-14 at Clemson?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the one. That was the one. It was 51-14.
And it was literally not that close.
And then more recently, 17, Clemson wins 31-14, 18, 59-10, 19, 45-14. And I'm telling you, I said this yesterday, if they'd have played in 20, it'd have been worse than all of them.
It'd have been 63-3.
Yeah, so Clemson flipped it. But the reason the series hasn't been great is because they took turns being great while the other one wasn't very good or wasn't nearly as good. Well, now I know Clemson lost to Duke, and they lost badly to Duke, and Clemson certainly has slipped from the elite status. Clemson is a really good program, but they're not even ranked. So they're certainly not mentioned with Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State like they were for a while there, and they're trying to get back there. But both programs, Clemson feels like it hasn't fallen that far. FSU's trying to convince people it has grown that it's gone that far. I'm telling you, the emotions of this thing.
Well, and again, if you're Clemson and you go to 0-2 in league play, it's going to be a really hard road to get back into that top 2 to get into the conference title game. And I mean, so again, that is the beauty of college football. Clemson's back is up against the wall, and in college football, that is a very dangerous motivator. And so Florida State might be catching Clemson at the wrong time. I still think they're way more talented than Clemson.
Right.
So I think they can still overcome it. But, I mean, yeah, if Clemson starts 0-2 in league play, I mean, it's hard to imagine that Miami and North Carolina and, the teams that they're all going to lose 3.
So you feel like in the off chance that game makes our picks, who knows what's going to make our picks these days? But in the off chance that game makes our list, you're pretty convinced you're going to take FSU.
Yes.
You too?
I haven't decided yet.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I've decided that it's making the picks. I haven't decided what I'm picking.
This isn't gamesmanship, and why would I gamesmanship? I just went 1-5. But joking aside, I really don't know. I'm leaning toward Florida State. I think Florida State's better. I don't know though. This something about how much not letting go of that throne matters to Clemson at home. After they rub the rock, up there. Have you heard? They rub the rock up there. Hey,
yeah, it's a great tradition.
What I didn't realize is that Clemson has kind of fallen off as far as recruiting rankings, not just for the upcoming year, but the past couple years.
But you're right. But
they've always been in the top 5.
But
now they're more like 10 and 11.
Not usually, because he doesn't oversign. See, Dabo's done a lot of things that I think are commendable, but I think have hurt him because of who he's competing against. Clemson doesn't oversign, so they don't normally have classes where they sign 34 kids. So when you sign 25, it makes it harder to be way high up there, because usually how these rankings work is they take like your top 18, and that's sort of your ranking. So they don't have as much extra to work from like other schools that are signing in the high 20s, some even into the 30s. So I mean, I think they've done well in recruiting. I don't think it's necessarily a talent thing. I think it's that they don't have Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that makes a big difference. And, they certainly have been criticized for their scheme offensively. But Clemson talent, I just don't – I think FSU might have –
they may be the best team.
Most talent.
They may be the best team.
I
right?
mean, in
that's
terms
right.
of like established
right.
Florida State's playing with a mini NFL team.
Yeah.
Their entire team is like 22, 23-year-olds.
That's right. They may have the best team. And know this about Clemson, too. That stretch in 17, 18, 19 there, I mean, they were legit now. They had the two great quarterbacks, but they had wide receivers and defensive linemen that were going in the top 10, top 15. So what Dabo Swinney built there, make no mistake about this, what was it, one year they beat Ohio State 31-0 in a playoff game? It was something like that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they were –
Urban Meyer.
Yeah, right. They beat Urban 31-0. Right. Clemson was legit now.
Yeah.
And so
destroyed Alabama in the title game. That game wasn't close.
And who destroys Alabama?
With a true freshman quarterback.
Right. Nobody destroys Alabama. So they had that thing was built now.
They're another team where I think Georgia's recruiting dominance has really hurt Clemson. It's hurt Alabama.
I wondered about that.
And it's hurt Clemson the most.
Well, Athens and Clemson are
very close.
Hour and a half, maybe. Mm-hmm. Geographically, they're right there.
Let me ask you something. Maybe this is something to get into either later in the week or in a different segment. But if Florida State ended up in the SEC where they're playing Florida,
right?
And let's say Clemson went, just for the sake of the argument, either stayed in the ACC or went to like Big Ten or something. Should Florida State and Clemson, is it such a good rivalry that they should continue it as non-conference?
Great question. Hold the thought. Let's talk about it after this. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Everyone agrees that playing quarterback is the hardest thing to do in sports, yet it's the one thing that everyone says they could do.
Denny Thompson is the Quarterback Whisperer. Friday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet.
Hey Jacksonville, this is 17-time PGA Tour winner Jim Furyk inviting you to join me and the legends of the PGA Tour for the 3rd annual Constellation Furyk and Friends presented by Circle K, October 2 through 8 at Timaquana Country Club. Public parking is free, along with complimentary tournament access for our military, courtesy of ViStar Credit Union. Go to Ticketmaster to get your tickets today, and if you're not traveling to London to watch the Jags this fall, join us Sunday morning in the Publix Tailgate Village to catch the game on the big screen. For more information, visit ConstellationFurykandFriends.com.
Why can't I just speak to an actual human being? I need a new bank.
Well, actually, at One-to-One Financial, communication is not only number one, it's one-to-one. When you call, you get to talk to a real live Jacksonville human, fast and with someone who's truly concerned about your needs, your security, and finding solutions as a team.
Thank you.
Ready to break up with your bank? Find a real long-term banking relationship at One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Visit one-to-one-fcu.org for more information on opening an account today.
Federally insured by NCUA.
Sports injuries are a common issue for both adults and children. Dr. George Barry here, and as a specialist in orthopedic care, the team at Barry Orthopedics and Sports Medicine here in Jacksonville provides comprehensive diagnosis and treatments of all types of sports injuries. With additional training in sports medicine and more than 30 years of experience, the team is available to care for your entire family and help you have fun and stay active. Visit us today at BarryOrthopedics.com.
And don't forget to check out Breaking Bones Sunday morning, 7:30 on 1010XL.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control, my personal choice for home pest defense, and according to the reviews, the absolute best service, quality, and value in North Florida. You too can bid farewell to bothersome pests and invite serenity into your home. Just go to jaguars.com/sweepstakes and enter the SWAT That Kick contest for a chance to win 3 years of free pest control if the Jaguars block a field goal at home this season. Only from Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the AFC South champion Jacksonville Jaguars.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE,
The medical providers at Prime Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most advanced treatments to eliminate ED and PE. 98% of men experience instant results on their first office visit. They're even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Don't just take our word for it. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now for our limited time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hayes Carline from MyBookie. If you're a veteran or rookie, you can bet with MyBookie. We're in full swing now for football, so check the updated lines at mybookie.ag and get your bets in to win real cash. Make sure you take advantage of their brand new cash-out system, giving you more options to bet and win all season long. If the first two legs of your parlay hit, cash out early and use the funds on another bet, or let it ride for the chance at a bigger payday. Join the MyBookie family for an entire season filled with odds boosts, free bets, and super contests. This is the best time of the year to get your bets in and start the football season off with some winners. To get started, go to mybookie.ag now and register for a free account. When you're ready to make your first deposit, just use promo code 1010XL to grab a welcome bonus on the house. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
Jacksonville's building a fence along the goal line. This is the Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Andre Sisco was beasting and feasting in the Sunshine State. The former third-round pick tallied 2 tackles, an interception, and had 2 pass defenses against the Chiefs. The Ball Hawks soared on defense in Duval and looks to continue his hunting mastery next week. Andre Sisco is your Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game.
Superior Fence and Rail knows about exceptional customer service. From the first call to the final inspection, Superior's team provides first-class care with great communication, friendly installers, and quality fence products. There's a reason why Superior is the top-rated fence company in Jacksonville. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your new fence today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Your car is like part of your family. It takes you to work, drops the kids off at school, goes with you on vacation. You feel safe in your car, but all that can change in an instant due to someone else's carelessness. Now you need money for medical bills, car repairs, lost wages. You need help, and you need it now. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us at 396-5555. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family since 1979. Jacksonville.
I want my Woody's barbecue.
If tailgating's your thing, then take that passion and head straight to your nearby Woody's before this weekend's games. Hi Flying Jacko here, and if you're hosting a game day party, order a slab of ribs, a few chickens, some turkey and pork, French fries, beans, and a bowl of banana pudding. If you're looking for a lunch spot today, make it Woody's Barbecue.
At Woody's Barbecue, it's what we do. Let's eat.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. I'm Andrew Gibson for 1010XL. This update brought to you by Awaken 180. We have a big one this weekend in the ACC. 4th-ranked Florida State at Clemson, Saturday at noon. Noles head coach Mike Norvell getting ready for the big game.
I mean, everybody knows it's a big game. You got a team that's, the last however many years, has pretty much led the ACC and how they've played and what they've done. I'm not sitting here just talking about Clemson. I mean, it's about us. It's about how we play, what we're able to do, and how we're able to execute. We know they're a talented football team.
Number 4 Florida State at Clemson. Kickoff Saturday at noon on ABC. It's 87 degrees at 4 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
Francie Carline, Brooks, R.J. Saunders. Denny Thompson joins us for the first time. He's always here at the 5 o'clock hour on Tuesdays. Was all last football season. Will join us again. You asked an interesting question, Hayes. Should FSU and Clemson continue to play if they were no longer in the league? Would the rivalry hold is what you're asking. Number one, I don't know, because it's not a rivalry that had any history. They just started playing in '92 when FSU joined the league, and before you knew it, they were the two best, because Clemson had always been by far the best football program in the league. When Spurrier was there, Duke was good. Mac Brown had some good years at North Carolina, but for the most part, the league had been Clemson and everybody else. So when FSU joined the league, well, those suddenly became the two best teams in the league. So it's still a new rivalry, because I'm not even sure how many times they played before that. Now look, the Ruski game was '88, so it's not like they never played a game against each other, but they certainly didn't play year in and year out. I would hope, to your question, that if suddenly you looked up and they weren't in the same conference, which is a distinct possibility, by the way, is this a realignment thing continues on, I would hope that's one that would hold. I would hope that we would look at that as, okay, they're not conference rivals anymore, but because they were such good conference rivals, let's try and keep it going. It probably would be hard, but because it's a great question. I'm going to ask you to answer the same question you just asked me, and Lauren too. But I would hope they would try, because I think it's a cool rivalry.
I agree. It's a cool rivalry. I don't think it has much of a chance of surviving if one joins the SEC and one joins the Big Ten. I think they would try to play every so often. I think maybe, you do a home and home every decade, something like that. Because I still think they're going to look for, particularly Florida State. If Florida State gets Florida every year as a conference game, then they're always there. I would assume still want to play Miami at a conference. Maybe there's a year where you would play Miami and Clemson, although that's taking a big bite out of competition. But but in looking at it, and look, if Florida and Miami and Florida State all end up in the same conference, if the SEC, let's just hypothetically say, add Florida State and Miami, then I think if you're Florida State, you would love to have, Clemson is a non-conference every year. But I don't, again, I think the odds of that are pretty small. So I don't think it continues. One good thing is we should get Florida State Clemson, I think, for another decade, because it seems like they're kind of tied there for a while. But I would think that when one of them leaves the ACC, unless they both jump to the same conference, they're probably done playing every year.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anyone cares about rivalries whatsoever. That's the sad part. They've played 35 times, by the way. FSU leads the series 20-15. But, I mean, if we can't get certain rivalries to be saved when teams move conferences, I don't think this one is going to be one of the ones.
No, I agree with you. You just said something interesting, by the way. I didn't know that. You just said FSU leads Clemson 20-15.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Clemson's won 7 in a row.
FSU won.
So that means FSU led 20-8.
Well,
that's not much of a rivalry.
FSU won 11 in a row between 92 and 2002.
I think it took Clemson 12 times to beat them when they joined the league.
Okay, was it that long? I did not realize. So it's been a one-sided rivalry until they flipped it back. So anyway, so yeah, we'll see what winds up happening. But I will tell you, you made a good point. Again, my buddy Grayson keeps texting me. You made a great point on this. Basketball teams have traditionally, he pointed out San Diego State and others, that when you look up and they got a bunch of those 22 and 23-year-olds, there's something to that. When Michigan State won the national championship with Mateen Cleaves, remember all the seniors? Mo Peterson was a senior. Remember that? They had all these seniors. FSU is playing with 22 and 23-year-old players, and they're playing a lot of younger teams. That does help you. That is a smart way to go about it, and so that may be factoring in all these games. Really is.
Yeah, I mean, Florida State, I don't have their depth chart in front of me, but when I looked at it a couple weeks ago, I want to say on their 2 deep, it's probably 20 redshirt juniors or seniors, and some of those redshirt seniors are 6-year players because of the COVID year. So in looking at it, I mean, they not only have great talent, but they also have experienced talent and players that, have redshirted, had a COVID year where, look, they played. It just didn't count against their eligibility. So, I mean, if you've got, a player that has been playing this sport for 5 years and is now in his 6th season, it stands to reason that that's going to be a pretty good player, particularly when they're going up against true freshmen, true sophomores.
They have a few sophomores as far as defensively, but other than Destin Hill, who's a wide receiver offensively, not a single freshman or sophomore.
Isn't that something?
Like Patrick Payton, who we know is pretty good, he's a redshirt sophomore, so not even true sophomore.
Now, the question now becomes in transition, can you keep doing it? Because Clemson and Miami, I guess, Florida, they're playing a lot of freshmen. So, you're going to look up one day, and those freshmen are going to be pretty good players. So are you suddenly going to be younger than them when they're really good? Or do you keep going to the portal and keep doing it this way? In other words, like a pro team, do you keep rebuilding through free agency or do you start rebuilding through the draft?
Right. But a lot of these guys for Florida State have been with them. Again, Jordan Travis has been there like 4 years. But so other than like Keon Coleman and Cypress, a lot of these guys, it's not their first year on campus. So they've also been able to get acclimated, get developed, learn the scheme, have an offseason to study the scheme and how they fit in it. So I don't think it can be just a one-year turnaround. And, again, Florida State's doing much better recruiting the high school level. So they may be now transitioning more to the model of, hey, let's recruit blue-chip players out of high school and we'll just supplement through the portal. It won't be our primary way of adding talent. So I think Mike Norvell can make that switch pretty seamlessly. But yeah, I mean, that's why this is the year for Florida State. This is the year. It's not next year. It's not the year after. This is the year for Florida State. That's why it was such a ridiculous comment when Urban Meyer said going into the LSU game, well, I'm picking LSU because Florida State's still a year away. A year away from what? I mean, they're a year away from half their team playing in the NFL.
What a clueless comment.
I mean, when we go to the Combine in February, there is going to be 14, 15 Florida State players. Right. I mean, you're going to be walking down the podiums, and every fourth guy is going to be a Knoll. I mean, compared to last year where only one Florida State player was there. So this is the year. And again, that also factors into this game. They're not out of anything if they lose Saturday. It just makes it more difficult. You have to worry more. You're no longer – right now they control their destiny.
Absolutely.
If Florida State wins every game, they're going to play – they're going to be in the playoff and probably as the 1 seed or the 2 seed. If you lose to Clemson, even if you win out, you're probably in the playoff, but you can't count on it. And you may be – you may be the 3 or the 4, but and you certainly can't lose again. So the pressure is on FSU, I think, from a what's at stake big picture. But for Clemson, there's a lot at stake in terms of you've already lost, and if you lose this game, you're totally done. I mean, none of your games really have much meaning in the rest of the season.
We'll take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about the NFL. The 2-game start for a bunch of teams. Where does that leave them? We'll talk about it after this.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Now, the Lamb Rant, brought to you by the best bet card rooms of Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine.
The growth of sports in the last 50 years has been amazing. Pro football tops the charts by far, but most other sports are experiencing popularity growth like never before. One of those is golf. The men's professional game has gone global and offers the kind of money that the traditional major sports pay their athletes. A big part of golf's growth has been the women's game. The LPGA is drawing better TV ratings, bigger crowds, and considerably bigger purses. More and more women of all ages are playing the game. That's why it got my attention that Wednesday and Thursday is the 60th play of the San Jose Women's Amateur Tournament. That's a long time. There are 101 players scheduled to play, including the defending champion, Tama Calderon. It has been played every year since 1962, except for 2006, when the course was closed.
Go to the homepage and look for Lamb at Large.
Are you searching for your next great ride? Then I've got great news for you. Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned has just announced an unbeatable inventory of over 500 used vehicles all in one place. I'm talking cars under $18K, over 200 SUVs, and more than 100 pickup trucks. Even better, right now, get no payments until January 2024. Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Visit arlingtontoyota.com/offer for full details.
Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling. Frank Frangie here. For 4 generations, our team has been dedicated to honest, quality auto service. Whether your vehicle needs tires, custom wheels, brake repairs, or regular maintenance, our experts will treat you like family. With our all-new Orange Park location, it's now easier than ever to get the care your vehicle needs from familiar faces at an affordable price. Visit BigChiefTire.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule an appointment today.
Welcome to Otterson Wealth Advisors of Raymond James, your local resource for financial know-how. The entire team is a symphony of knowledge, working harmoniously to orchestrate your financial dreams into reality. Experience the Otterson Wealth Advisors Advantage, where our expertise, empathy, and precision converge to craft a roadmap to your financial triumph. Visit OttersonAdvisors.com and let us turn your aspirations into achievements. Otterson Wealth Advisors, your goals, our expertise. Raymond James Associates, Inc., member New York Stock Exchange, SIPC.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
Wouldn't it be great if you could ask a woman what she's thinking?
Lauren Brooks, Taylor Dahl, and Mia O'Brien.
What a world that would be if you could just ask a woman what she's thinking.
Helmets and Heels.
Driven by Tire Outlet.
And presented by Underwood Jewelers. Tuesday nights at 6.
On 1010XL.
This is Hayes Carline for QC Kinetics, and I can't make it any simpler. QC Kinetics can change your life, and you can live again without that chronic joint pain and without drugs or surgery. QC Kinetics is advanced regenerative medicine. They take your body's own concentrated healing properties and put them right into your joint to restore and repair that damaged tissue that's causing all of that horrible pain. You can see them in Mandarin or Ponte Vedra, those locations. You need to call for a free consultation at 904-274-5522. If you have constant pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or back, you need to call and get that free consultation from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics today. Call QC Kinetics and see how the latest advances in precision regenerative medicine can attack your pain and bring you lasting relief. Now is the best time to get started. Call 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522.
Is your house exterior due for a wash? First Coast Home Pros has thousands of 5-star reviews for a reason. They get amazing results on even the toughest pressure washing jobs. Schedule now at firstcoasthomepros.com.
Toilet or shower not draining? Water bill high? So many issues you want to cry? Call Mr. Rooter of Jacksonville. Have your number 2 business serviced by your number 1 plumber. Let us do your dirty work. Call us today.
Mr. Rooter. Wondering what you're going to do for dinner tonight? Southern Steer Butcher is a full-service butcher, and we grind and make sausage in-house every day.
Now open in Ortega. For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying. They can also signal a major problem or electrical emergency. So leave it to the pros and Mr. Sparky.
888-8 Your on-time electrician, Mr. Sparky of the First Coast.
Your quick and easy solution for paying the lowest price on car insurance is Estrella Insurance. E to the T here, and start saving the big bucks and pay less today. Call 1-800-CAR-INSURANCE and see for yourself. That's 1-800-CAR-INSURANCE or visit EstrellaInsurance.com.
Right now, Zero Res is falling back in time for September. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129, and they'll clean a 4th room for free. Their 4th room on me. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Ackerman Urology's new Beaches location is now open, conveniently located on Atlantic Boulevard near Hodges. Visit the experts at Ackerman for all your prostate and urological concerns. AckermanUrology.com.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Getting money ain't new to me.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
Frank Frangie, Hayes Carline, Lauren Brooks, RJ Saunders with you. So the NFL is off to a really interesting start. Did you realize? I'm sure you probably did if you looked at it. I mean, we all do is look at standings. We are 2 games in. 2. And there is exactly 3 undefeated teams in the AFC. Of the 16 teams, there's only 3 undefeated teams in the AFC 2 weeks in. How about that? Interesting.
There's 2 in the AFC.
Yeah.
That's
Miami and Baltimore?
You're right. I bet just 2. So there's only you're right. I said 3 is 2, but there's only that was the point. There's only 2 in the entire conference. Only 2 in the entire conference 2 weeks in. Pretty amazing.
It is amazing because the NFC has 6,
Yeah.
7.
Got 7. We spent all offseason saying the NFC is way worse than the AFC.
And I do think by the time we get to the end, it won't. It will have flipped, but yeah, it speaks to the. I think it was just the matchups in the first 2.
Well, of course, it's always that.
I mean, so I will say for Miami and Baltimore, Miami looks incredible, and I give Baltimore a lot of credit for going into Cincinnati when they're a little bit desperate at 0-1 and winning that game. So the Ravens and Dolphins, I do think have made big statements so far. The NFC, I think the NFC South is lousy. I think that'll correct itself.
But the East,
San Francisco and Dallas, is the San Francisco Dallas matchup in Week 5 is going to be gigantic. I mean, what a ball game that's going to be. It's almost like the Eagles, who are still a very elite team, have kind of taken a back seat to what Dallas and San Francisco have been able to do in the first 2 weeks.
I mean, Dallas has outscored its opponents 70-10.
I mean,
they've scored 70. They've scored in 2 games. They've scored 70 points and allowed 10.
What they did to the Giants in Sunday Night Football was, I mean, that you could watch prime Alabama against Charleston Southern, and it's not that one-sided. I mean, it was just an absolute beating, and then they took care of business against the Jets. Yeah, I mean, Dallas looks sensational. I mean, they have the best defensive player in the league, in Parsons, and they're dangerous offensively and
they're physical. They're tough,
and it's not it's not late in the season yet, so they're not choking.
But I mean, there's a toughness to them. There's a toughness to the Eagles. There's a toughness to the 49ers. There's a physicality to them.
There's a reason they're all 2-0. But teams like the Commanders, I don't know. They've got by the way, they've got the Bills at home this week. The Commanders play host to the Bills. So I have a feeling that Commanders will have an L at the end of that one. The Buccaneers, who are a great story so far, they play host to the Eagles on Sunday. I have a feeling that they're going to have a loss by that point in time. We already talked about the Falcons at the Lions, and then the Saints are at the Packers. So I think things will probably be a little bit different when we talk next week.
But all these high-flying quarterbacks we talk about, Mahomes and Burrow and Josh Allen and Justin Herbert and Trevor and these rifle-armed quarterbacks, they've already lost. And the tough-nosed physical teams, Eagles and Cowboys and Dolphins, who are certainly that, the 49ers, who are the ultimate that, they haven't lost. Now, look, it's 2 games. I mean, the dumbest thing in the world is to try and pull a trend out of a 2-game season. I know that. But, again, like I say all the time, we're a talk show. It's kind of what we do. The tough physical teams have been better so far than the high-flying drop back and throw it down the field teams.
I think the 0-2 one for me that's the most – it's not surprising, but it's the most underachieving is the Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, Justin Herbert is 25 years old. He's playing at such a high level.
And he's healthy.
I mean,
Burrow's not healthy.
Yeah, Burrow's not healthy. And the Chargers, basically have everybody back, on offense. It's – Kansas City's obviously they're having to, replace guys. Kelsey didn't play in week 1 when they lost. Brandon Staley, I think, might be one of the worst coaches we've seen in this league in 10 years.
And to your credit, you said that before the season. I don't think the 0-2 is why you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's like they just can't close. And thankfully they couldn't close here, but I think it has carried over. He was asked about it after the Titans loss. And he kind of, went off on the reporter a little bit, who I think was Daniel Popper, by the way.
Oh, no way.
And
well, of course he's going to ask about Jacksonville then.
Right.
Still, he used to be here.
And and he just strikes me as a guy that knows the end is near and knows that he's out of answers. And to me, like we talked about, the Chargers will be very interesting because I think they're going to fire Brandon Staley in the next month. But it's just that's the one that just doesn't make any sense because you've got all the talent in the world to be winning games, and they just give games away. And that's one of the more compelling games I think this weekend is Chargers Vikings. I don't know if in terms of picks, it's a pick'em game. So
I have it on there.
Yeah, I mean I think it's a good one because it's 0-2 versus 0-2, and that's not very exciting from that standpoint. But
there's desperation.
Absolutely. I mean, the loser of that game is in real trouble. And so yeah, I don't know that the Chargers are going to bounce back because I don't think they have the right leader.
Another 0-2, I totally agree with you. Another 0-2 team that I think people thought might have gotten off to a little bit better of a start because of the new head coach would be the Broncos. And I don't know that they are going to be good under him with Russ as long as Russell Wilson's the quarterback. And so they've got this Sunday at the Dolphins, then they're at the Bears, and then they play host to the Jets. So you could potentially see them get back after, I would assume, losing to the Dolphins. But I just don't know that Sean Payton's going to be able to turn things around.
Need the good guys to win this week, which I think they're going to. And then all of a sudden you're in a what then will be a pretty small clump or a smallish clump of 2-1 teams, I hope. I mean, so you need to win this one. Yeah, this one I think you need to win, and we'll see about the Falcons. I agree with you on the South. The South, we'll see. We'll see if the Falcons are legitimately better. I'm sorry. Maybe I've lost my mind, but I don't see flying across the pond and Desmond Ridder showing up and beating the Jaguars.
Not unless the Jaguars beat themselves.
Correct. I just don't see. Yeah, I mean, they've lost one game and it's to Patrick Mahomes. I don't see Desmond Ridder beating I'm a game ahead, I know, but I don't see when we get to London. I think the Jags are going to win this week, and when we get to London, I don't see Desmond Ridder. Josh Allen's a different conversation, but I just don't. I just can't imagine it. I can't imagine. I would be very surprised if they don't start 3-1. Now again, all bets are off after the 3-1, but I would be very. I'll tell you now, I would be, and maybe I'll wind up being surprised. But I would be very surprised if they don't play. The next 2 games are not in another team's stadium. The next 2 games are against a rookie quarterback and a young quarterback who's average. It's against 2 teams with, I think, average rosters. I would be very surprised. Now, would you be very surprised if they weren't 3-1?
If the Jaguars beat the Texans, I would be surprised if the Jaguars did not beat the Falcons. But if the Jaguars lose to the Texans, then all bets are off.
I'd be surprised if they don't start 3-1 because I do think they might still be a little sloppy offensively Sunday against Houston. I still think they win. My guess is Stroud hasn't thrown a pick in 91 attempts. chances are that market will correct itself, and he's probably going to throw 1 or 2 to the Jaguars on Sunday. So then the defense is playing well. Pierce hasn't really been able to get going at all on the ground. I don't think he'll do it here. So I think a lot will be on Stroud, and I think he's going to take sacks, and eventually I think he'll make a couple mistakes. So I think the Jaguars could sputter offensively and still win this game. And I do think for the first matchup, it favors the Jaguars going to London. They've done it before. Atlanta really hasn't. Atlanta's really young, too. That's the other thing. I mean, their best players are Bijan, who's a rookie, Drake London, Ritter, Kyle Pitts, offensively. So I think that kind of disruption in their week is going to make it really difficult for them to execute at a high level. So I would think the Jaguars win the next 2 and get to 3-1. And, I would be really concerned if they don't do that.
Yeah, because then you have Josh Allen and the Bills, who, yes, faltered week 1 against the Jets after they lost Aaron Rodgers, but the Bills looked super good this past weekend.
Yeah. So, and again, I can't be. I picked them to lose to the Chiefs. Thought they were going to lose to the Chiefs. So we'll see. 2 more games. One more segment with Lauren, then Denny Thompson stops by. The quarterback whisperer is 30 minutes away. We got a lot more to do. I'm going to touch on baseball and a few other fun things in this next segment. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
A quarter is worth 25 cents. A fifth quarter is priceless. Hacker, Leon Searcy, and Coach Campo bring you the window world of Northeast Florida fifth quarter from 9 Ball Heaven. Brought to you by Osteen, Volvo, and Volkswagen, and Dr. George Bari and Bari Orthopedics.
Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine are paying out over $640,000 this month in poker promotions. There will be exciting high-hand specials and no-limit hold'em tournaments all month. Catch Insta Paydays and game day promos at St. Augustine, $300 early bird specials at Orange Park, $500 Fridays at Jacksonville, and much more. Enjoy the best in poker and card games at Best Bet. For more information, visit bestbetjacks.com.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE, the medical providers at Prime Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most advanced treatments to eliminate ED and PE. 98% of men experience instant results on their first office visit. They're even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Don't just take our word for it. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now for our limited time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Did you know the new 2023 Honda Accord Hybrid has an onboard system that charges the battery so you never have to plug it in? When you think Honda, you think quality, value, safety. Now think hybrid. Visit your local Honda dealer and experience the car of tomorrow today.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On September 19, 2004, wide receiver Jerry Rice ends his NFL streak of 274 consecutive games with a reception.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Lauren Brooks here. Tired of joint pain holding you back? Try BioTarget from Injury Care Centers. This treatment will prolong the life of your joints by targeting the root of your pain and delivering more regenerative cells to the affected area, ensuring faster and more effective healing, making BioTarget the most advanced regenerative treatment. For a limited time, BioTarget starts as low as $499. Call Injury Care Centers or visit gobiotarget.com. That's gobiotarget.com.
Get this thing unwrapped here. Duval!
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, man. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Dailies Dash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, like me. I'm sure there's a Dailies Dash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course.
Oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Dailies Dash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Dailies Dash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
When it comes to a new roof, you want the golden standard. Look no further than Golden Hammer Roofing and Gutters. With our unbeatable 5-year warranty, you can enjoy peace of mind knowing your roof is protected for years to come. And guess what? Our team can complete most roofs in just one day. That's right, you won't have to worry about long and disruptive construction projects.
Golden Hammer Roofing and Gutters.
Golden Hammer!
The golden standard in roofing.
Tim Pearson here, founder of Chattanooga Whiskey. Did you know that Chattanooga Whiskey was awarded Craft Producer of the Year by Whiskey Magazine? We spent years perfecting our unique style of bourbon we call Tennessee High Malt. Try a bourbon that's truly best in craft today. Drink Chattanooga Whiskey, enjoy responsibly.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
The Jaguars had a few players banged up in Sunday's loss to Kansas City. Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson with an injury update on linebacker Josh Allen and wide receiver Zay Jones.
Yeah, it's just shoulder, just a shoulder sprain. Should be day to day, should be fine. Zay knee, getting some testing done with him. We'll have a better report later today, but he's day to day right now, pretty sore today. And we'll monitor that as the week goes.
Doug Peterson, courtesy of Jaguars.com. The Jaguars' first official injury report for Week 3 will come out tomorrow afternoon. The Jags host the division rival Houston Texans on Sunday. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
Always a Nimnick Tuesday around here. All right, Frank. We didn't get to this yesterday in News and Notes. Shohei Ohtani out for the season with the oblique injury. And so what happens with the Angels now? Does Trout get traded? Do they bring back Ohtani in free agency? What happens to the Angels?
Obviously, they're not very good. And they don't look – I still – as crazy as it sounds, I think they did the right thing, even though it's going to blow up in their face, because I don't think they're going to re-sign him. But I just don't think you can be the team that traded him. I think that stench would stay with you longer than the 2 or 3, 4 good prospects that you brought in. I just believe that. No, he's going to sign with the Dodgers, now he can't pitch for all. He can't pitch next year. So all the luster's off a little bit. He's a good hitter, but the reason he was going to make so much money was to be the incredible pitcher hitter for the Dodgers or the Yankees. We can't pitch next year. So, yeah, I think if you're Mike Trout, you probably really push for that trade. Listen, you've done your part. You're a Jersey guy. You grew up on the East Coast. You're as northeastern as anybody, and you've been playing in SoCal as a good soldier. I think now you got to go push for the trade. I can't imagine that you don't, and I can't. It's time for them to blow it up. And Ohtani's the interesting story. Does he hit next year, or does he have the surgery and sit out? You can't have the surgery and hit, you know. So does he have the surgery and come back in a year after next as a pitcher hitter?
Is it definitely requiring that?
Oh, it's Tommy John. Yeah, it's not. I mean, everything I've read is Tommy John. Yeah,
I would think he sits out.
Yeah, you sit out, so you sit out and repair it and come back and do both in 2 years, right? That's what I would think. So, but there, I mean, so, and by the way, Bryce Harper had Tommy John, and it affected him. He wasn't able to hit for 6 months, which is why I'm surprised Ohtani kept hitting. So we'll see. It's a sad story, but again, I sound like a broken record. I apologize, but we're doing something wrong if 40% of the people doing something need major reconstructive surgery. If 40% of the good running backs in the NFL, 40% always needed ACL surgery, we're doing it wrong, right? We're doing it wrong. And so that's my opinion. I feel strongly about that. So we'll see.
How do you fix it?
I don't know. I don't know. You just can't throw as hard? Is there some technique that allows you to throw hard without blowing out the elbow? The UCL? I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know. And if anybody knew that, they would have done it by now. But I just think, look, here's what's going to happen.
Like, could you, if, like, hypothetically, if they put in a no pitch can be above 93 miles an hour now, while, I mean, obviously it'd be ridiculous, the runs that would be scored. But if they did that, could pitchers that can throw over that, could they figure out how to throw it to not go over it?
I'm convinced if arms didn't move as fast as they do, you wouldn't have the blown-out elbows. I'm 100% convinced of that. Now, you could never do that. You can't take away velo from a game. That's like taking away dunking or home runs. And I understand that. I'm convinced you wouldn't have them blowing out. Listen. The conventional thinking is, go do it, get you where you throw 100, blow it out, go have your Tommy John, hopefully pitch for the next 8 years and be fine, or blow it out again and then do it again and pitch for 3 more years and you're done. That's the accepted process. The accepted practice is go throw really hard. Dan Hicken and I were having this conversation. In high school, the guys that are throwing 95 plus in high school expect Tommy John. They expect it. And so, it just boggles my mind.
If 40% of players who dunked the basketball or 40% of players who hit home runs were injured, they would change something.
You would think, right?
They would. And this is not what's going to happen, but have you ever heard of a softball player having a torn UCL?
No. Well, obviously, softball, you can pitch game after game after game because it's a more natural movement.
So it's obviously better for you. And I'm not saying baseball's ever going to underhanded. I'm just saying there is a stark contrast in one versus the other.
A softball is released from where your arm naturally hangs.
Right.
A baseball is not. And so, but anyway, so that's my story on that. That's my thought on that.
Any like pennant race that you're excited about?
Well, what I'm really excited about
Orioles.
Is that one, and where I think the postseason is good. And I've been saying this. I think the postseason is going to be magnificent.
Also, Astros Mariners. Mariners are just a game and a half back.
I think I think both of those.
And the Orioles and Astros are facing each other right now, which makes things interesting.
Yeah, if you're a baseball traditionalist, it's nobody you care about. Okay, nobody cares about the old people like me care about the Orioles. Because we remember Frank Robinson and Brooks Robinson and Boog Powell and Cal Ripken and Eddie Murray. But nobody else cares. Unless you're a fan of the team, nobody cares. Nobody cares about the Rays. Nobody cares about the Mariners. Maybe the Astros because they're mad at them. You know, you know what I mean? They may care about the Astros so they can boo them.
Yeah, I don't even know if they're still mad.
And they may not care enough to be mad still. I don't even know. Now, you know who everybody cares about? The Braves. Everybody wants to watch. If you're a baseball fan, see, Hayes, here's how, in my opinion, here's all that 80s TBS stuff, even though they sucked the whole time, it introduced you to them, to the logo, to the team, to the colors, right? So we all got introduced, whether you could have lived in Peoria or San Francisco or Minneapolis, you were introduced to the Braves and the Cubs. You were, between WTBS and WGN. Well, the Cubs, other than being the lovable losers, never became anything. You know, they never evolved into anything other than being a charming, wonderful franchise in an incredibly charming, historic venue, but they never became anything.
And they're really struggling now.
And they've lost 5 in a row, and
that was a pennant race.
They'll
for there
freaking
for a
get
while.
well tonight, but I mean they'll get well in the next 3. But they lost, but they playing.
They're 6 back of the Brewers.
Okay. So they'll get.
The Braves, by the way, have no pennant race to worry about.
What's
They're
that?
14 ahead of the Phillies. The Braves.
Yeah, but that's just people want to watch the Braves.
The wild card races are pretty interesting.
They are. Because especially in the National League, because those teams are battling. The team that's pretty good is the Phillies. The team to not sleep on is the Phillies, because if the Phillies get hot, they're the one team that can be a pain in the butt. I don't think the D-backs are going to be a pain in the butt. I don't think the Reds or the Cubs, whoever get in, are going to be a pain. Keep an eye on the Phillies. But I think this whole Braves thing, because everybody now knows them. What was the stat you read? 4 guys with 35?
First team in history.
In Major
4
League
players to have
history,
35
it's
home
never
runs.
happened before. You know, I mean that's
and one of them has 52.
Yeah, and so
what does Freeman have, by the way? His counterpart in the
he's
West.
hitting like 320 or 310 or something like
he's
that. Yeah,
hitting a ton.
But but I think the Braves, I think
Freeman
the Dodgers
has
are scoring.
26 home runs, so not anywhere near Olsen.
And I do think the whole Rays Orioles thing is interesting. What do you think about the Rays? There's more and more about the Rays Stadium. What do you think about the Rays? I saw. Did you see all the stories about it today?
Yeah,
it's going to be kind of like this one. It's going to be state of the art.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to, that Gaslight District. They're really trying to grow that. So more power to them. They've got the money. They've got the plan, and they obviously believe that this will bring more fans to the stadium. We'll see, but. I think if you're a Rays fan and if you go to the games at the Trop, this is fantastic news. Just like if you're a Jaguars fan and you go to games at Everbank Stadium now with the sun and the brutal heat, we saw over 110 people were treated for heat stuff, and then you go to the new stadium, you're going to think it's amazingly better.
Yeah. Oh, no question. Listen, it's better than the team leaving for Nashville, okay?
Sure.
It's better than staying at the Trop.
Because Major League Baseball can expand if they want a team in Nashville.
Yeah, right. Well, but I'm saying – forget that. I'm saying for the Rays. If you're the Rays.
Yeah, you're thrilled.
I mean, I think baseball would be better if the Rays went to Nashville. But, I mean, forget that. If you're the Rays and you live in that area, this is, A, better than the team leaving, and, B, better than it being in the Trop. So, significantly better than those two options. I just think, to me, this would be like, how do I say? At least, see, Jacksonville's a small market, but everything Jacksonville's Jacksonville. You can live in Fernandina or St. Johns County or the beaches, but Jacksonville's it's still Jacksonville. It's not like all of a sudden we're playing the games up in Kingsland, all right, or Fernandina. This to me would be like the Orlando Magic playing their games in Daytona. Daytona's a wonderful little town. Daytona's got wonderful beaches. But if the Orlando Magic played in Daytona, no one's going. They're just not. No one's going. And it's almost like if the Braves played in Macon. That's probably too far, but you get the point. No one,
because they do play outside of downtown now, right? The new Brave Stadium.
Yes, and no.
So the Rays averaged 17,700 a game this season.
Yeah.
So what do you think their expectations are once they build?
It's gonna hold 30. Mm-hmm. So I mean, a perfect world is you want 80%. So 24, 25, I would think.
What evidence do they have that would remotely suggest that'll happen?
None, other than the fact that
you've already got a great team, and
so the fact that they couldn't find a way to move that thing to where Amalie Arena is, that they couldn't win the fight against. Look, by the way, the lease is up in 27. I know that's 4 more years, but if you held on 4 more years, then you go wherever the hell you want. You're not stuck in St. Pete. If you build this thing, you're now here for 30 years. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm dead ass wrong. But the one guy who tweeted us yesterday said, hey, my whole family thinks, well, then why don't your family go to the games, okay? So you got to go. I mean, I just don't think anyone.
Well, the attendance is certainly up from when we looked at it probably 3-4 years ago. I think they were one of the lowest. I don't know where they stand as far as
27th.
Okay, yeah. So still one of the
27th with a really good team.
Yeah, I contend that
27th but think about just think about that 27th in attendance with a fantastic franchise,
but an awful place to watch games.
Yeah. No, that's right. But look, maybe I'm wrong, but I can tell you, I'll say this again: the people that I know that live in Tampa really believe they would go embrace it. They would treat it like they treat the Lightning if they played where the Lightning play. Now, again, my people I know don't live in St. Pete, so maybe if I had family in St. Pete, they'd feel differently.
Yeah, and I don't know the politics between moving it from St. Pete to Tampa, the cost difference. I know the area that they want to build up. Like I said, the Gaslight District, I think is what it's called. I don't know how all of those politics work with the cities. Obviously, in Jacksonville, we don't have those types of politics. But by the way, did you see that 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark is getting, quote, significant upgrades for the first time in the ballpark's history?
I did, and I knew all about that.
Okay.
I
was excited. I got an email on Monday.
They're doing it,
announcing
and it's got beautiful 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark. Bregan Field has gorgeous cheekbones. It's got great potential. When John Delaney put in the Better Jacksonville plan to build it, it was done perfectly. It was a long time ago.
20 years.
Okay, so it was a long time ago when that thing went in. So they can now, when they make it better, it'll be fantastic. But it is way, way, way overdue, and good for.
It's
Ken
funny because
Babbitt.
I think it's such a great ballpark. I would have had no idea that upgrades were needed.
Yeah,
so I'm excited.
But again, I don't care what you build. In 20 years, it's antiquated.
Absolutely.
I don't care what it is, so it's antiquated. So we'll wind up. But I think right now, who's your World Series? You said Braves Orioles before?
Braves Astros.
You said Braves Astros before. Who's your World Series?
I said Braves Rays.
Well, we all agree Braves.
Yeah.
We all agree Braves. I'll go Braves Orioles.
Yeah, I think
just for the heck of it.
that makes sense.
It'll be a lot of fun. So, all right, you got Helmets and Heels coming up. You,
That's
Taylor,
correct.
and Mia?
Yes, sir.
All right, that'll be good. Have fun with that. We'll take a break. When we come back, the Whisperer stopped in for the first time. Denny Thompson after this on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Your play-by-play home of Bulls Bulldogs football is 1010XL.
I'm Coach Tobin of the Bulls Bulldogs. We're back on the road Friday night against Oakleaf, and you can catch the action on 1010 AM.
E.T. here for the Aesthetic Center. Come on, guys. It's time to shed that dad bod and score sculpted abs in just 4 easy treatments of the M-Sculpt Neo with Dr. Rappaport. Each treatment is equal to 20,000 crunches. No downtime, and it's not invasive. No more hiding under them baggy shirts. Get ready to show off your six-pack like your boy on game day. Call 808-2455 to get started. That's 808-2455. Or book an appointment online at jacksaestheticcenter.com.
This is former NFL quarterback David Garrard. If your knees have taken a beating and you're finally ready to do something about it, then let Southeast Orthopedic take a look. Come on, do your knees a favor.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can now do it in less than a week. Hey, it's Prosser here, and that's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, or even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. And you don't even have to touch your primary mortgage, so you can keep that 3% rate intact. Just get the money you need and pay off all those credit cards, or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Hey guys, Hicken here. It's hot. The oven is on and it ain't getting any cooler. Unless you stay cooler with Bueller. Bueller Air, still locally owned and still treating their growing customer base like they're part of the family. Go ahead and Google them yourself. Bueller Air, B-U-E-H-L-E-R. You won't find better rated air conditioning company in town. I use them, so I already know. Like I said, it's getting hotter than ever outside, so stay cooler with Bueller.
Bueller Air. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hayes Carlion for MyBookie. Football is in full force, and so is winning season at MyBookie. It's time to get fired up and get in on the action. NFL, college ball, and a brand new cash out system. If the first 2 legs of your parlay hit, you can cash out early and use the funds on another bet or let it ride for the chance at a bigger payday. Go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to grab a welcome bonus. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Jaguars are a 9-point favorite over the visiting Texans. FSU, a 1.5-point road favorite versus Clemson. Notre Dame getting 3.5 points at home against Ohio State. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. You'll also get a free chip to use in the MyBookie casino. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie, and don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
So I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $30,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $80,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition and no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted into the program, your only costs are the books and the course fees, around $700 a year.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by November 2nd.
Now, the Performance Painting High Performance Play of the Game. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Andre Cisco was on the prowl for the Teal and Black while facing Kansas City, and his patience, alongside his anticipation, placed him in the perfect positions to make plays in what was a sensational outing for the safety. In the second quarter, Cisco would read the KC offense like a book, which allowed him to record an interception and give the ball back to Jacksonville with 9:51 left in the half. The Cisco INT is your Performance Painting Play of the Game.
Does your home or building need painting? For over 20 years, Performance Painting has had the privilege of preserving many of Jacksonville's most prominent buildings. That said, we feel like we're just getting started. I'm Jason Parker, and our team thrives on preparing, protecting, and preserving the homes, businesses, and public buildings that make up our local landscape. Contact us today to put our years of experience to work for you. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
What? They did not tell me they were going to do that. I need a new bank.
Well, actually, One-to-One Financial doesn't do the usual bank surprises because we're not a bank. We're a credit union, and that means lower loan interest, things like free checking and member rewards, and of course, total investment back into our community. I'm sold.
Find a better way to bank than big banks with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Visit 121fcu.org for more information on opening an account today.
Federally insured by NCUA.
Attention golfers, Hidden Hills Golf Club has a little bit of something for everyone. So whether you want to practice, play, or just relax with friends at the Hills Grill, Hidden Hills is the place for you. If you love golf, check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Andrew Gibson for 1010XL. This update brought to you by Concierge Capital Management. Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers will host Mike Norvell and fourth-ranked Florida State on Saturday.
You know, it'll be an awesome environment for a great college football matchup, and that's what you got. You got two good teams, two great programs, a rivalry game early in the season. So this is Clemson, Florida State at its best right here for sure. You know, this is a great football team we're getting ready to play.
Dabo Swinney, head coach of the Clemson Tigers. Fourth-ranked Florida State at Clemson. Kickoff Saturday at noon on ABC. It's 85 degrees at 5 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the quarterback whisperer, Denny Thompson.
Okay, bring it in.
Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security, security and automation experts, and George Moore Chevrolet.
1, 2, 3.
That's the best part. I might just, rather than talking to Denny, just keep playing that over and over.
He loves it.
Kind of like put it in loop.
He's always been a big fan of it.
Huge fan. It's my ringtone now.
How are you,
This
buddy?
song, man. You're going way back here. You're going to get in trouble. You better turn it off. It's too early for this. I'm great. I'm great. You know, I was going to wait to come in here until the Cardinals caught Pittsburgh, but it's not going to happen.
You know what? Good point. And because we finish ahead of the Cardinals so often.
Right.
Okay, so I think the last time was maybe 1992.
Is that right?
So it's been a while.
It's been a while.
How you been? Catch us up. I know you've been on the drill in the prime time, but for the sake of our listeners, how's training going? You got a lot of guys. Give people, before we get into the weeds, an overall update.
Yeah, we have a good group. We have a lot of guys, a whole lot of guys. Very fortunate with that. Everybody working hard. Everybody's having a great year. You know, Jeff Sims has had some struggles, but outside of that, it's been a pretty flawless year thus far. And so I'm just kind of enjoying the season like everybody else at this point. So it's kind of the fruits of our labor type of season.
Carson Beck is obviously in command of the number one team in the country. What's been your thoughts on how the offense has gone for Georgia, and how much of that is just they haven't seen a team that probably gets their attention yet? Is there another level that when they get to the heart of the schedule, it might be Florida. Where do you kind of see the Dogs right now?
That's you said a lot there, because the heart of the schedule, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a really weird schedule.
It is a weird schedule.
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, like everybody else, I watch it and I say, okay, there should be a little more. But then when you go back and you watch it, they're efficient. They're doing what they need to do. And I think Spencer played out of his mind to start the game is what happened the other day. And it kind of shell-shocked their defense. But there was a moment in that game where Georgia just kind of put their foot down and was like, okay, that was cute. Enough's enough. And then they rattled off a bunch of unanswered points. So they still have that in them. But I think they got Bowers has been a little banged up. McConkey hadn't been there. I think they got to find, who's that guy when those guys aren't in there and kind of run things around them. And they got a really good defense. And we all know how Kirby is with offenses, as I would be too. If I had that defense, look, just let's not mess it up over here. We'll just win football games. But I think Carson has played really well. I thought he played a great game this past Saturday, and you can just see him getting more comfortable with every week.
I know you talked to him a lot. It's a very interesting journey for him. God forbid he didn't do what everybody else did and leave the minute he wasn't starting. It's a great story. It's old school. Guy waits 2 or 3 years to get his turn, and he gets it. And, oh, by the way, here's Brock Vandergrift and Gunnar Stockton and all these other 5-stars just waiting for the first mistake to go get the job. Yet he didn't flinch. It's a cool story. How's he handled all that? How's this story going to end? Good, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think Carson's a really focused kid. He's 21. But I mean, he's a focused guy. And I went, before the season started, I went up to Athens 3 weeks in a row.
Okay.
And I just wanted to go be around him, just kind of see how he was. And he was as good as I've ever seen him. And then I think he admitted that first game he got out there and was like, whoa, I'm a little nervous. I've been waiting for this. But the thing about Carson being cerebral and being as disciplined as he is as a football player, you're not going to get him to do something he doesn't want to do. So, Georgia fans are saying push the ball down the field. Well, that's not going to happen if that's not open. Carson is a very cerebral player, and he knows what you're trying to do defensively. And, oh, by the way, he's practiced against the best defense in the country for 3 years.
Great point.
Right? So he's not going to take just a shot just to take a shot. So I think we're going to see as the season goes and they get healthier and they get more into whatever Bobo wants this offense to look like and whatever Kirby allows it to look like, I think we'll see pretty big growth from Carson.
And Hayes, I got to tell you, it is very significant to remember. It's not breaking news. He didn't inherit the starting job by default because he was still there. He beat out 2 5-stars who were still there from Georgia.
Right.
And I got to tell you, watching the spring game, they look like Georgia quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. They look like Mike Bobo and Joe, whatever his name was, don't they?
Yeah.
David Green.
It's a good-looking room.
Yeah, but they look like Georgia quarterbacks. He looks like an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Don't you think that?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And that's why I think it's impressive, his story, and I think he is still, by the time we get to Thanksgiving, I think Carson Beck's in the Heisman conversation. I just don't think he's had the moment yet, because Georgia was supposed to play Oklahoma, and I think he would have played very well in that game. And the league made him cancel it because Oklahoma was joining the SEC. And so it's just been, South Carolina is a decent opponent, but they're not, maybe we'll see something different when they go to Auburn, but it just doesn't lend itself. But he's going to have obviously a lot of statement games. He's going to have the cocktail party. He's going to have Tennessee. He's going to have SEC championship in all likelihood. But the guy that we've been talking about for years that just still is astonishing to me is what Jordan Travis has become is astonishing.
Mm-hmm.
What were your impressions of him against LSU and kind of where he is right now?
I think that a lot of credit needs to go to that kid and to Tony Tokars, who is their quarterback coach. I know Tony really well. Jordan came in and he was not – I saw him in those spring practices when he first transferred. He was not a good thrower. He knew how to throw, but he wasn't a good thrower, right? And the fact that they saw something in him – because you got to remember, they didn't go to the portal the last couple of years. They believed in this kid. And up until last year, everybody was kind of like, I don't know about him, right? They continued to pour into him, and I've had conversations with him about this. Back to Kenny Dillingham, they have thought that this is who he would be all along, and so they have developed him to follow this path, and he allowed them to. And so I think it's pretty cool when you get a plan together and everybody's bought in and you pay attention to the details, kind of what it looks like on the other side, and I think that's what we're seeing with Jordan. I almost think at times he's hurt by how athletic he is because we all talk about these amazing plays that he makes, but he can sit in the pocket if he needs to. Like if he needs to put 10 toes down in the pocket and sit there and dice you up, he can do that. He just don't ever need to. Like why would you take that piece away from his game? I don't know that he's going to be a high draft pick because people are going to knock on little things, but I do know that he'll play a significant amount of time in the NFL. I'm confident of that.
The other guy around here is Graham Mertz. I'll tell you the Graham Mertz story. And I told this to Hicken on the podcast today. So Florida thinks they're getting Pratt or hoping to get Pratt and hopes to get Hartman and blah, blah, blah. And they wind up with Mertz. Everybody thinks he's the worst guy of all time. Worst transfer in the history of the sport. So because A, I was bored, and B, I'm weird, I went on YouTube and watched him. And I told not just Hayes and Lauren, but my buddies, and I said all the Matt Hayes and Dennis, I said, he's pretty good. He's not great. He's limited from an arm standpoint. He's limited from an athleticism standpoint, but he's pretty good. He's a good throwing motion. Those seems to know what he's doing. And everybody was just convinced he was going to be terrible. I think, Hayes and I were talking about this the other day, for what he is, he's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
He's not, it's not a big arm thing, so you got to coach differently. But what do you think after 3 games or what you've seen so far?
Well, it's funny to hear you say that because he is exactly what the Florida staff told me he was going to be. Like they were excited to have him.
Very excited.
I've never worked with Graham. I always want to say who I've met him twice. Once was at Anthony's Pro Day.
Yeah.
Really nice, like sturdy looking guy, right?
Yeah.
Like it's, and then he gets out there and he just looks better in pads. You know those guys that it's all of a sudden they put pads on. You're like, oh, well, wait a second. And then you see just the way he moves. And he is a fluid athlete. He knows he's got great eye control. He seems like he's really good at a lot of things. And that's the thing that kind of hits me with him is I don't know what he's really great at. And maybe there's something. We just haven't seen it yet. But he seems proficient in a lot of things. And you can do a lot with that type of quarterback in college football.
You know what he is, Hayes? He's a college pitcher that throws 91. Even the college pitchers now throw 96 and 97, and he's a college pitcher that throws 91. But he's got great control. You know what I mean?
And he's got a little something to it at the end.
Yeah, right.
You can't put your finger on it, but you're like, there's a reason they're not hitting that.
Right.
You hope he's Greg Maddux.
Yeah.
As a college quarterback, you hope he's.
Well, you're setting the bar.
And who knows?
I mean, Frank said a college pitcher, and you went Greg Maddux.
But Danny Werfel was Greg Maddux.
Yeah.
Danny Werfel
gotcha.
was Greg. Danny Werfel's the guy that threw 90, but was Greg Maddux. I don't know if he'll be that, but you know what I mean. But he's really. He's a college pitcher that throws 91, that throws strikes, that gets people out, and I think he's been kind of fun to watch.
I think if you ask a lot of college coaches like who your ideal quarterback is, a lot of us would think they're going to build like their ideal quarterback. I'm going to have this arm and this. Really, what it is all these coaches are really stingy about their offense, and they just want to know that they can see this person running it. And Graham Mertz, like you can almost see him running almost any type of offense. You can tell that he's a cerebral kid. He knows where he wants to go with the ball. He's tough.
Yeah,
maybe too tough.
Very tough.
Right? And he's got something to him, and I think that's just what Billy Napier needs this year. I don't know in future years. I think DJ Lagway and guys like that are going to be more what he goes towards, but I think Graham Mertz is perfect for the situation.
All right, we'll take a break. College guys in the books here. I want to ask about Anthony Richardson, how he's doing. I thought Gardner Minshew was fantastic the other day, 19 of 23, and looked like he had played forever, didn't he? He looked like he looked like a 35-year-old guy in his 14th year in the league, didn't he? Didn't it look that way? So let's talk about some of your guys that are playing at the next level. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Every team has an enforcer.
Whether you like it or not, I'm a hard hitter and I'm a straight shooter.
Tommy Mack is ours.
I say it like I see it.
Fridays on Jaguars Today, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey everyone, it's football season and we wanted to go to the drawing board to make this year's predictions. Let's compare our two long-haired blonde all-stars. Most touchdowns, best pricing in the market, most passing yards, pays the most for your trade, most receptions, free oil changes with every purchase, Super Bowl champion, wow, customer service. I think we can make all this happen. Come see Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, where you can score big all season long.
When you choose J-Dog Junk Removal, you're not just hiring a junk removal service. You're investing in a company that believes in making a lasting impact on the lives of our veterans and our community. J-Dog is dedicated to giving back to our local veteran organizations. They have donated over $50,000 in materials and services, ensuring that these valuable organizations have the resources they need to support our veterans. J-Dog Junk Removal, veteran-owned, veteran-operated.
If you're looking for exterior solutions that provide you reliability and durability, it's time to call Armor Guard Exteriors. Whether you need seamless gutters or gutter protection, hurricane products, impact windows, glass lanais, or retractable awnings and screens, we've got you covered. Call My Home Team today for your 5-star experience at 904-906-8669.
Armor Guard Exteriors, committed to quality, and that's a promise.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Bank in the 2023 Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards, and it's easy to see why. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the new Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Hey Jacksonville, this is 17-time PGA Tour winner Jim Furyk inviting you to join me and the legends of the PGA Tour for the 3rd annual Constellation Furyk and Friends presented by Circle K, October 2 through 8 at Timuquana Country Club. Public parking is free, along with complimentary tournament access for our military, courtesy of ViStar Credit Union. Go to Ticketmaster to get your tickets today, and if you're not traveling to London, but watch the Jags this fall, join us Sunday morning in the Publix Tailgate Village to catch the game on the big screen. For more information, visit ConstellationFurykandFriends.com.
A judge has a gavel, I've got a hammer. I'm Hayes Carline. It's Hammer Time with Hayes. Weekdays on The Frangie Show on 1010XL. Brought to you by Golden Hammer Roofing and Gutters, the golden standard in roofing.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it worse. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
Mike Dempsey here. As you all know, I decided to take control of my weight, and I called Awaken 180. Why? Because there's no BS, no gimmicks, no crash diets, no magic pills. You won't find me sweating it out at the gym every day either. Just 3 weeks with Awaken 180, I've shed over 17 pounds. I mean, my shorts are already falling off me. I'm down to a 36 waist, about to be wearing 34s, a size I haven't worn probably since high school. But here's the kicker. It's not just about losing weight. I'm learning along the way. My coach, Mandy, she is a rock star. She listens, gives me tips, and adjusts my program to keep things moving. And to back up their claim as the solution for weight loss, I'll receive free support for life after reaching my goal. So whether you've got 20 pounds or 30 pounds to drop like me, or maybe you have 50 or 100 pounds to lose, Awaken 180 is the choice to make. Call them at 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800. Or check them out online at awaken180weightloss.com.
They're out to test our reputation as the best plumber in Jax, so we gotta play like the experts we are. Now, who are we?
Roland Reach Plumbing!
Now that's what a winner sounds like.
Customers always win with Roland Reach Plumbing at plumberinjax.com.
Active and pain-free. That's the ticket. Dr. George Barry here, and I know that's the goal of every patient I see. They want the best possible care so they can go back to enjoying life. That could be pick up basketball, golf, tennis, running, or just working out. It all requires you to be as healthy as you can be. If joint pain is taking its toll on your active lifestyle, come see me at Barry Orthopedics. We have locations all over Jacksonville and can diagnose and treat even the most severe joint pain. A homegrown Jacksonville practice. Find out more at barryorthopedics.com.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, and equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows in $2.95.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
We want to thank our friends from the Nimnick family dealerships. Nimnick Chevrolet is on Cassett Avenue. Nimnick Buick GMC is located on Phillips Highway. Frank Frangie, Hayes Carline, R.J. Saunders. Lauren Brooks has the rest of the hour off. She'll have Helmets and Hills coming up for you in just a bit. Denny Thompson, the quarterback whisperer, is here. All right, I told you this on the phone the other day. I thought Anthony Richardson played pretty well against the Jags. He's a rookie, missed a few throws, but I thought 2 or 3 times I thought he did a wonderful job of reading the blitz and getting it to the hot guy. I thought he had a pretty good idea what they were doing. Now when they got behind, I thought he missed high a bunch. But accuracy's been the question about him. But the other thing is, Trevor, other quarterbacks, and you explained it to me off air, so explain it on air. Young quarterbacks miss high. I'm not smart enough to know why. But young, strong-arm quarterbacks miss high.
Yeah,
Why is that?
A lot of times it's actually pushing up at the lower body. So it's the game's so fast.
So it's a mechanical thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of times it's a mechanical thing. It's like a quick reaction.
Yeah.
They may feel like they're late on something. So instead of making it like a flat rotation, they'll kind of lift up into the throw. And so it'll just push everything high. And those guys are throwing with such velocity.
Right.
That 6 inches higher at that angle, and maybe 10 degrees higher angle, is going to miss by a few feet.
Trevor missed high as a rookie.
I think
he had all the other stuff he had to deal with. It was a dysfunctional stuff. But I'm just saying he missed high as a rookie. How do you think AR played or has played?
I have been as satisfied as I possibly could be. And not from a statistical standpoint or even touchdowns. Like the touchdowns are great. But it looks just like he's ready. It just looks like he's calm. It looks like he knows what he's doing. He's going through progressions. I think Gardner has been unbelievable for him. I think both Gardner and Sam Ehlinger have both just been amazing mentors for Anthony. And it kind of worked out because all three of them work out here. So it's just they've been able to kind of pour in each other year-round. But yeah, I mean, I'm as happy as I can be, and I think he's way ahead of schedule of where I think everybody thought he would be here.
In terms of some of the other young quarterbacks in the league, anything stand out to you? We have like Ritter, Howell. Obviously, we have the rookies this year. Anything that is jumped out to you from guys that are Jordan Love?
You know, for some reason this year, I'm taking a whole different approach to this football season, and I'm realizing like it's week 2, so it's like I am not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not smart enough to draw conclusions, but there's no way to evaluate a team, a person, or anything like that outside of them getting blown out in 2 weeks in this league. I keep reminding myself of that, especially this week since we saw the Jags. But, 2 years ago, we're playing in a league that the Jaguars, who were awful and dysfunctional, beat the hottest team in the league in the Bills. That just happened 2 years ago, right? So anybody can beat anybody. Anybody can have a bad day. And then on top of that, the bigger thing for me with these quarterbacks right now, while I'm going to give every single one of them a break, this is a new season with new linemen, new receivers, new play callers. Man, you cannot replicate that. And we took a lot of preseason away from these guys. So we're really, if you look at playing time, we're really just now getting into midway of week 1.
Then we go back to AR, now the downside. He's played 2 games and he hasn't finished either one.
Yeah, that's not good.
Is that bad luck? Does he not know when to get down? Does he not take hits well? What's your read on that?
I think he takes hits too well.
Yeah.
I think he's got to find what that is for him because that's his identity. I mean, he wants to score, right? And he got hurt scoring. He wants to run. He wants to get the extra yard because he is 250 pounds, right? But you got to be smart about it, and you got to find kind of what your lane is. And I don't know what that is, the speed of that game. I've never played in it, right? But I think what, everybody kind of jokingly brushed over what Trevor told him, but I think there's a lot of wisdom in that is, like, you're going to do amazing things. It's a long season, a long career. Get down. Like, try to find a way to not take –
Did Trevor tell him that?
Yeah.
I didn't realize
try
that.
to find a way to just not take the brunt of that blow. Like, even if you just kind of shimmy off to the side, you don't have to run through every tackle in the NFL. I won't say who it is, but we had an interesting discussion this offseason with several NFL quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And they were talking about the difference in what it feels like when you get hit in college and when you get in the NFL.
I'll bet.
And it was scary and fascinating to hear. I mean, one of them said that every hit in the NFL, you feel something on your inside move. That's every hit. And so it's like you got to learn that there's only so many of these you've got in you.
In terms of looking at some of these veteran players that are playing well, Baker Mayfield is doing really great. Geno Smith continues his improvement. Anything that jumps out to you early in the NFL season from some of these veterans that not much was expected of?
You know who I'm like really into right now is Jordan Love. And I didn't put him in that younger question just because he's been there a couple of –
He's leading the NFL in passer rating.
Have you watched him? Have y'all watched him play?
I have not.
Man, he looks like every mannerism is just like Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, is it really?
The way he's throwing the ball, he has changed his mechanics. And I'm so interested to see like that whole osmosis process of a quarterback that you drafted early, sat behind a great for 3 years. What does that look like long term? So I'm dialed in to him. I think there's just so much talent. Like Baker Mayfield a couple years ago was all the talk, and then he just kind of went away, and now all of a sudden, oh, Baker's here, right? He's here again. And everybody you talk to in that landscape or that world will tell you that guy is insanely talented, right? So I just think it's finding that right situation, finding the right place, getting into a good rhythm. Main thing I've been looking at this year is Brock, just kind of how he comes back, and he has started off the year phenomenally. So I think the future of the quarterback position in the NFL has never been better.
How much time do you have with Brock Purdy? Is he here a lot? He comes here some?
I didn't have much with him this year. Tom Gormelli at Tour did because he was going through physical therapy.
Okay.
Right, and so he was in Jacksonville for, a while.
He was?
Yeah.
They all come out. You find them a place to live. They stay at the beach or whatever.
Yeah. They love Jack's Beach.
Yeah.
So they'll come out. They'll get an Airbnb for – Gardner was in for 40 days.
So what NFL guys that we would recognize? AR, Gardner, Purdy, we know those three.
Yeah, I got to keep it.
Oh, they don't want people to know.
No, I don't.
Okay, you don't. Okay. No, I mean, I'm really curious about that.
No, it's really cool. I mean, what Tom and Will have been able to do as well in this, because there's three of us working this, right?
I get it.
And Tom is phenomenal at what he does. It has really stacked up. Right, and it's pretty cool just to kind of see what's happened and realize that these guys can go anywhere they want to go. They can spend their offseason anywhere, and they kind of find their way here. And I think it's great for Jacksonville. I think it's phenomenal for Jacksonville.
Yeah. So again, I get it. The private, you keep it private. But if you're watching Red Zone on Sunday and you see, they're not all 32 playing, but 28 quarterbacks are playing. Not a high percentage, but a percentage of those guys train here.
Yeah, I'll put it this way: they have that little quad box thing on whatever it is now.
Yeah.
And my son pointed out that every quad was
really.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We've had multiple games
cool.
with both starters. We've had one game where every quarterback on both rosters.
Yeah.
So it is really cool.
And they all come to Jacksonville.
Yeah,
That's really cool stuff. I'm a big C.J. Stroud guy.
Yeah.
I hope he's not too good this week. You've heard me tell the story. I've told it enough times that when I worked the game in the off week last year and saw how good he was. I think he's ahead of his time. I talked to Mark Vandermeer, my buddy, who's the play-by-play voice of the Texans. They're over the moon. They're over the moon for what they think he will be. What do you think?
I agree. I think C.J. Stroud has got as much accuracy, arm talent. I'm not saying strong arm. Just he knows where that ball's going.
He's Burrow,
and
isn't
he? Yeah, his anticipate. I can't talk. Anticipation's really good. So much of this is where you land.
Yeah.
So much of it is where you land, what they surround you with, stuff like that. But I think if all the pieces fall in place around him, they've got their guy for the next 10 years.
What are you seeing out of the Jaguars offense?
Oh, man. This game this past week was, I thought, really, really interesting because you could make the argument. I think the Jags would like to throw the ball 80% of the time. I'll put it this way. And I don't think that they're necessarily wrong about that. And I may be exaggerating at 80, but the majority. If you go back and you look at what we've been complaining about even last year, is they forgot about the run. Well, I mentioned this yesterday. The rules of football, we saw it with Brady. He did it forever. The rules of football are very generous towards the pass right now, right? And so there's a lot of these passes that 20 years ago counted as runs when we were trying to establish 50-50 balance, that 70-30, 65-35 isn't a bad balance these days because a lot of them are basically extended handoffs. I think they got to find out if that's who they really want to be, though, and they just got to go. Do you want to throw the ball that much? Because it seems like you do. Is every single time we have this conversation, it's because you threw it 50 times. You drop back 50 times. If that's what you want to be, hey, man, let's go. Let's just go. So I watched that game the other day, and it's okay, their identity is Trevor, and it's these weapons, and they were just a tick off, just tiny tick off. And it cost them the game. But they also were a tiny tick off and in the game with the best team in the league. And that's a change around here because it used to be everything had to go right for us to be in a game in the fourth quarter with anybody, much less Kansas City. Now it's everything went wrong and they were still in it. So I think a lot happened the other day, and I'm excited about the Jags. I have not wavered one bit on Trevor, on Doug. Just y'all be who you want to be. Don't listen to us. Y'all be who you want to be. If you want to throw it 60 times, go do that.
All right, Danny, if you're a coach, and you deal with the psychology with these guys a lot, right? You're coaching one of these guys, and you've got a good plan, and he's got great weapons, but for whatever reason, it's a game that they can't block anybody. Yeah. And so all of a sudden, there's no chance on a 5-step drop. There's no if they even have still 5-step drops. Other than quick game, you have no chance. So the quarterback is hyped up to have this great game, and all of a sudden he's hitting the mouth every time he lets one go. Balls are being batted down at the line of scrimmage. How does that work? How does it affect his ability to get into that rhythm? Because I'm a believer that when that happens enough, quarterbacks start missing. It's because they're rushing.
Yeah.
It's because they're not afraid of they're not afraid of the pain of getting hit.
No.
But they want to get it out before the ball gets batted down. I think that happened the other day. Do you think that?
There's a rhythm to the pass game, and once you disturb that rhythm, and this is if you're going to be a throwing team, you got to make sure the old Rams never had this problem. Brady never had this problem. You got to make sure you're setting protections right. So if you get out of that rhythm, man, it's a long game. It's a tough game.
Did you think that? Because that's what I thought.
Yeah, I think that's all it was. I mentioned yesterday with Joe, there's so many things that have to go right to complete a pass. And the minute one or two of those things go wrong, and that doesn't even have to be route. That can be protection. That can be one guy got beat. It just sets you off. And then you find yourself in the third quarter still trying to find it. And you almost got away with it because you almost hit a couple perfect passes, but people didn't get their feet in.
Right.
And if you hit those, nobody's talking about it, right? But you didn't, and so everybody's talking about it.
Interesting stuff. We'll take a break. When we come back, on one segment left with Denny, I want to talk about some of the high school talent around here. It's immense, isn't it?
It is.
It really is. We'll talk about that after this. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
This is Brent Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Some top 25 matchups in college football Saturday. Number 10, Oregon, home in Eugene as they take on the Colorado Buffaloes, who are ranked 19th. Oregon favored by 21 points, minus 1,050 on the money line, while Colorado plus 660 with an over-under of 70.5. Alabama, home in Tuscaloosa, taking on Ole Miss. The Crimson Tide ranked 13th, Rebels 15th. Alabama favored by 7 points. Alabama minus 265 on the money line. Ole Miss plus 215. Over under 55.5. This update brought to you by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010 XL.
Bailiff, what's the next case?
Judge, the defendant has been accused of pouring cooking grease down the kitchen sink.
I didn't know where to put it, Your Honor.
See? Guilty!
Who's the plaintiff?
His wife, Your Honor.
Are there damages?
No, Your Honor. I called for help and the drain was fixed.
Who did you call?
For any drain issues, just call the Duck. The pros at Duck Rooter.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is the sports medicine leader in Northeast Florida. We're proud to be the official sports medicine provider for your hometown teams, including the Jaguars, Sharks, Axemen, Armada, and the Jumbo Shrimp. We have the most cutting-edge resources for sports medicine care, including Active Armor casting, Alter-G anti-gravity treadmills, and highly trained physicians and athletic trainers. JOI is truly where the pros go, and so should you.
Welcome to Otterson Wealth Advisors of Raymond James, where our team is not just a team, it's a vast resource of financial knowledge, with each member bringing their unique expertise to your financial success.
Meet Caleb Cronick, financial advisor, a Naval Academy graduate, and SEMA certified pro through the University of Chicago. His strategic prowess is your asset working towards your financial goals. Ready to begin to your journey? Visit OttersonAdvisors.com. Otterson Wealth Advisors, your goals, our expertise. Raymond James Associates, Inc., member New York Stock Exchange, SIPC.
Mike Dempsey for Dandy Foods, and happy to report that Dandy has brand new goodies out there, only available at select gate locations. 4 delicious new lunch items to choose from: a hot roast beef and provolone, an Italian combo that'll melt in your mouth, spicy buffalo chicken, or a big old juicy 100% beef cheeseburger. They're all served on fresh ciabatta bread, baked locally and delivered daily, just as you'd expect from the folks that bring you fresh, never frozen goodness.
Got that hometown flavor creeping up on you. Yeah.
The All-Pro Roofing phone line protects you from boring radio.
Hello? What are you doing here?
I don't know. Listen for great phone interviews all day on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
The calls have been pouring in.
On 1010XL.
Lauren Brooks here for Hodges Mazda. Why buy from Hodges Mazda at the Avenues? Because they strive to ensure a satisfying and comfortable car buying experience. That's why the sales staff doesn't work on commission, allowing Hodges Mazda to put your best interests first. Whether you're looking for a brand new Mazda or a pre-owned vehicle, Hodges Mazda has a large selection to help you choose from. And every vehicle purchased from Hodges Mazda comes with 2 years free maintenance and free car washes for life. Now that is peace of mind. So visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com.
Right now, Zero Res is falling back in time for September. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129, and they'll clean a 4th room for free. Their 4th room on me. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, I've seen ads for diamonds where you see the words all diamonds certified by IGI, EGL, or GIA. Just what does all that mean?
Frank, it's confusing because those letters represent various diamond grading laboratories. However, it's important to point out that labs don't certify anything. They issue diamond grading reports. The only entity that can certify the diamond is the seller. There's one exception to that, and that's members of the American Gem Society have the ability to certify diamonds through their partnership with the American Gem Society Laboratory. That's because it's the only partnership in the world where an organization devoted to consumer protection through gemological education and ethics has a laboratory built on the exact same principles. We have these certificates at Underwoods, but more importantly, we have American Gem Society certified gemologists that look at all of these diamonds and put our grade and our certification of the diamond's quality on it. And believe me, that's important.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Universal Roof and Contracting presents the Offensive Player of the Game. Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is universal.
Christian Kirk had a stellar performance for Jacksonville. The 26-year-old wideout recorded 11 receptions for 110 yards on 14 targets in the contest. Kirk must have had his shades on coming into this game because he was such a bright spot for the Jags in their offensive attack. Christian Kirk is your Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game.
Make sure your home is protected this hurricane season by scheduling a complimentary roof inspection with Universal Roof and Contracting. And right now, get 10% off roof replacement and repairs. The first 50 callers will save an additional $500 on a full roof replacement. And this offer expires September 30th, and restrictions apply. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 1330747, CVC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Introducing the latest menu addition at your neighborhood Woody's Barbecue. Now you can get fried chicken and fried pork. Whoa, Nelly!
At Woody's Barbecue, it's what we do. Let's eat.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Every Tuesday morning during the Jaguars football season is a Check the Tape Tuesday with Jaguars Today and Jaguars analyst Jeff Lageman. Logs this morning on the struggles of the Jaguars offensive line.
I think really the best option right now is to continue to coach them up. And they've got a good football coach in Phil Rauscher, who I'm a big fan of. And they all didn't play bad. I would say probably 4 out of the 5 didn't play very well.
Lageman on what he saw from Trayvon Walker against the Chiefs.
Trayvon played okay. I mean, he made the one physical tackle, where he put the running back down on the ground, got one pressure that I can remember. But, I mean, there's nothing that's, dynamic.
Nothing impactful, really.
I mean, nothing that was crazy.
I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
One more segment with Denny Thompson, Frank Frangie, Hayes Carline, R.J. Saunders. Lauren Brooks has the hour off. She hosts Helmets Hills coming up in just a bit. Boy, the high school quarterbacking is off the chart. I guess all those years of 7-on-7s and real personal trainers like you. I mean, quarterback play in the high school level has never been like this, has it?
It really is crazy. I mean, you've got. I was thinking about it earlier this week. I can't even name all the quarterbacks in Jacksonville. There's so many that have Division I offers. We're not talking about maybe good prospects. We're talking about guys who already have Division I offers. You got Colin Hurley at LSU. Right. You got Lachlan Hewlett committed to Wake Forest. You got Tramell Jones committed to Florida State. Right? You've got, I could keep on going and going and going. We got USF. There's Western Kentucky. The list, but all these guys all have 15, 20, 30 offers. And then you dig a little bit deeper and you look, and all of a sudden Sean Speed at Atlantic Coast and Ryan Kilmer, and you look at just St. Johns County even with some of the talent they've got there. We work with most of the guys. A lot of the guys we don't. They're just really talented young men who have worked their butts off. I believe this is the case in Jacksonville for quarterbacks. Is for the longest time, this wasn't the quarterback place because 2 reasons. 1, it wasn't, and 2, they ran the wing tee. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, guys started getting scholarships. And so now it wasn't a pipe dream anymore. And so now you're in 8th grade, and you're seeing 5 or 6 guys that you train with that are committed to Georgia and Florida State or Georgia Tech or whatever it is, and like, oh, that can be me. I train with those guys, and that just continues to go down and down and down, and now almost every high school has a college-level quarterback in this area, right? And you look at, like, Bartram. I mean, how many in a row have they had now? Riley committed to UCF, and it just digs into what I'm saying. I think seeing is believing, and these kids are seeing it at a young age, and all of a sudden – like, I can do this. If that guy's doing it, I can do this. And it just puts an extra work ethic. Jacksonville's becoming one of the hottest quarterback areas in the country. And I'm not saying that because that's the business I'm in, because the truth is we don't work with a ton of high school guys right now. It's just really, really talented, and the high school coaches have done a great job with it.
Give us a little bit about what makes the 3 or 4 you mentioned special.
Oh, man. I mean, Colin Hurley, we've known he was going to do this since he was in 6th grade, right? I mean, he has had a plan, and he and his dad have worked that plan, and they've been diligent to it. And he's a disciplined kid, and so this isn't a surprise. He's special. He's a different dude. And then you look down there, and all of a sudden, I've got pictures of he and Tramel Jones when they were, 9, 10 years old throwing, and then you look at Tramel, and you're like, oh my gosh, this dude is a dude, and he's just making play after play after play, And by the way, if you haven't gone to see Mandarin play, I mean, receiver, safety, lineman, I mean, all big-time prospects. The Lachlan Hewlett kid at St. Augustine is Will Hewlett's son. He's committed to Wake Forest. He's a fun one to watch, kind of like an Aaron Rodgers type vibe in high school. Just puts the ball wherever he wants to. But what excites me is all the ones that people don't know about yet. Right. Like, there's this whole crop of guys that people don't know about yet. It's not going to get any worse, guys. It's just going to get better these next 3, 4, 5 years. We've got 8th graders that right now I could take you to the facility, you watch them throw, and you'd be like, oh, my gosh, this is crazy.
How good is Hurley going to be? Like he's going to LSU. He could have gone anywhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, he classed up, right? So he's skipping a grade, still made the Elite 11 finals, right? I don't even know how to answer that question anymore because he's so I get asked that so many times about him. He is 16 years old. He's going to go to college at 16 years old. Wow. Have y'all stood next to this kid?
I have not.
Big.
He's massive.
Yeah. Is he how big?
He's 6'2", 225.
Yeah. Okay, big, thick kid.
And y'all, when Anthony was doing his draft prep, like Colin's sprinting with him.
Right.
And it ain't.
Wow.
Anthony's not blowing him out. Like, I mean, he is right there neck and neck. Just an insanely talented, disciplined kid. So I don't know.
Could he be the next guy? Jaden Daniels, this is his last year at LSU, or
I don't know. It has to be. But they got Nussmeier as well. They got some guys there. Like I like Garrett Nussmeier.
He's a pretty good player. He's supposed to be a pretty good player. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't put anything past Colin. I mean, if there's anybody at 16 years old that can go to LSU and play, it's this kid.
Who were some in like the class of 25, 26 that?
Tramel is that 25. So is Lachlan, and there's a kid Ryan Kilmer down at Tucoy Creek, who I think is a phenomenal prospect at that age, a really good prospect. And then, I mean, I'm going to miss so many guys. But
we got all season.
Seriously, if you're a high school football fan, you should go out and look at these quarterbacks because you can throw a dart at the newspaper and go pick a game, and you're going to see a talented quarterback.
And you really like the guys that Florida and Florida State have committed at quarterback, Lagway and Luke.
Luke Kromenhawk is one of our guys that we've worked with forever, and I think Luke is one of the best prospects I've ever seen.
He's really risen up.
Really?
Yeah, he's in Savannah. He committed to Florida State before he ever took a snap at quarterback.
Okay.
And has just continued to develop at warp speed. Has everything you want.
So he committed before he ever played quarterback.
Yep.
Well, how did they know to offer him?
Before
he ever played quarterback in high school.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, he went to a camp.
Okay.
They saw him throw a couple times.
I misunderstood. Before he had ever played high school quarterback.
A snap at high school.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, he played a lot of quarterback. I get it. Makes sense. Easy. I teed you up for that. So you're welcome. Danny, if you were a high school coach, if you were a high school coach today, head coach who's calling your own plays, what would you do? The RPO we see now. What would you do? You're building, and I know a lot of that depends on who you had. I get that, but what would your system be?
It seems like everybody has gone to this choice route system. And
Tell people what that means.
That's you can't be right on defense if it's run efficiently. It's you're going to have a receiver and it's any combination of things, but he's going to drive the DB to 12, saying he's either going to keep it going or he's going to curl it up or he's going to go post, and it's a ton of work. It's really hard to install. Everybody's got to be on the same page, but there's a lot of teams running it really well in this area.
To the layman watching it, shotgun, one back.
10 personnel, 2x2.
Okay.
You've got some concept and maybe.
So 10 personnel, no tight ends.
Right.
All wide receivers.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it could be anything. It could be anything. And I probably am not the best to explain that concept, but I think when you look at offense right now, I don't think there's a need to define what you do because you've got things like choice route that you can attack with. You've got RPO game, which has changed the game.
Right.
And it will continue to change until they change rules.
Yeah. So when Denny says 10 personnel, just so you know, it's a shotgun, one running back, and 4 wide receivers, and I'm guessing twins on either side.
Right. It can be trips or twins.
That's your standard.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So that's your standard thing.
Yeah. But I think, I'm glad I'm not coaching anymore because there's so many different options that I would confuse myself.
Yeah.
There's just so much that you can do now. I mean, you've got zone read, you've got RPOs, you've got these choice routes, you've got all these different things, and now these quarterbacks are coming in and they're so developed that if you want to just empty it all out and say, hey, box count, you may run draw, like that's hard to stop. This old school stick draw concepts. I don't know how you stop it. I don't know. I think the evolution until they change some rules is going to continue to favor offenses.
Danny Thompson, great work as always. We
Thank you,
appreciate it.
man.
We'll see you next Tuesday at 5 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
That is a quarterback whisperer. Great work as always from him.
Let's do some takeaways, RJ.
Now, today's takeaways, brought to you by Key Buick GMC, where our family dealership has been helping families buy vehicles for over 50 years.
My takeaway is what, Denny's main point was, and that's just what a great position the quarterback position is in when you go to every level of football. In the NFL right now, I mean, it's incredibly entertaining. We've got some young players that are making a name for themselves. Jordan Love's been really impressive in getting a chance to play for the Packers. But you still have the old guard as well. Kirk Cousins, second in the league in passer rating right now. The Vikings are 0-2, but it's fun watching him do his thing. Jared Goff, Geno Smith have had resurgences. Tua is off to this incredible start. He's the favorite to win the MVP if he can stay healthy. You look at the college level and what this NFL draft might be like, with 5-6 guys potentially going in the first round, with Caleb Williams, Drake May leading the way. It's just remarkable. Very cool as well to hear about all the local high school quarterbacks that we have that we know are going to be well on their way to stardom in the next few years.
All right, we'll toss it over to Ladies and Hamilton Hills in just a bit. In the meantime, final thought on these kind of ratings. Colorado CSU had 9.3 million viewers. The next game up was Georgia South Carolina, 5.4, about half. Then Tennessee Florida, 5.3. So Colorado State, airing at 10 o'clock at night, did almost double any other game of the week, and it was the 5th most watched game in ESPN history.
It's amazing. I mean, it really is. It's amazing, but it speaks to what controversy does.
It does.
In our society. And again, it's not a bad thing. I mean, Colorado State talked trash earlier in the week. Colorado answered. Deion Sanders is one of the most well-known personalities that we've had in sports over the last 35 years. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And now it's going to get really interesting to see how Colorado handles Oregon and USC.
Let's say hello to Mia.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Keeping 1010XL talking with wholesale prices and premium service. Tire Outlet, Jacksonville's largest locally owned automotive repair shop.
So, did you survive 1-1? What went wrong on Sunday? In your mind, what went wrong on Sunday?
A collection of things that you can't really pin on one person. It was a perfect storm of drop passes, the wrong routes run, not giving Anton Harrison help on the edge to protect against Chris Jones, although you can credit the tight ends for at least one of those sacks. Trevor Lawrence was inaccurate at times, and the play calling was clunky. And as Coach Campo noted, because he rewatched the game 3 times, did you know they didn't call a running play within 20 yards of the end zone?
I did not.
Outside of Trevor just scrambling? That's a problem.
Yeah. How much of it do you think is they just didn't think they could block him? I mean, I don't know. I'm not the head call. I'm not the head of Doug or Press, but I mean,
I mean, from what I talked to a couple different people in the building about it, because I don't want to say they underestimated Chris Jones, but they felt they could manage him. And I don't know if it was the wisest decision, because everybody who remotely knows football knew that Chris Jones walked back into that building last Tuesday and said, hey, I'm going up against the rookie. That's the most strategic way for me to get sacks. And then the fact that they put Karlaftis next to him and they put Jones on the interior, now you're going up against Brandon Scherf, who's an all-pro, yes, but he's banged up. It was great strategy on the part of the Chiefs, and I'm just kind of surprised the Jags weren't expecting it. And yes, he only played, 30-some-odd snaps. It was like 50% of the snaps or something like that, which was perhaps more than many people thought he may play. But at the end of the day, it's the same defense largely as it was last year. It's not like he had to learn a whole new scheme.
He made a lot of difference. You're exactly right. All right, what's coming up tonight? What are we doing?
Oh, well, of course, we will run through everything from the NFL to the college football to the high school ranks when it comes to football. I actually am only going to be here for one segment, so your ears have been saved for most of the next 2 hours because I am headed to the ALS CEO Soak that I was invited to.
Okay.
Historically, they let all these CEOs here in town and the sheriff and some other city leaders jump into the pools at the stadium. No pools this year, but they're promising something similar. So I have been invited among those. And so, it's going to be, if you remember the Ice Bucket Challenge, it's kind of apparently a larger-than-life version of that.
Well, happy soak.
Yes, and apparently I have a fundraising page, which unfortunately, because I've been working on closing on a house, I haven't actually gotten a chance to even view it yet. But, hey, I'll post that at some point. So if
There
you're
you
looking
go.
to give to ALS Research, they are doing that.
Good luck. Sounds
Yes,
good.
and
Mia.
shout out to the
And-
state attorney's office for inviting me.
And there's
Thank
that.
you.
And Lauren and Taylor and Mia will also have helmets and heels. That'll do it for our program. Don't go anywhere. The ladies are next. For Hayes, Lauren, and RJ, thanks again to Denny Thompson for stopping by. I'm Frank Frangie. So long.